Good morning from Sri Lanka. Venerable Theros, the religious dignitaries of other denominations, the Secretary General for UNESCO in Sri Lanka, Dr. Sirumali Fernando, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen, participants. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you to what is undoubtedly one of the pioneering initiatives of the Center for Meditation Research of the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Colombo. The center, which was built on the background of research that we initiated almost a decade ago now, has grown in strength. And a few weeks ago, our colleague, Prof. Saroj Singha, who was one of the brainchilds behind the center, proposed to us that we should celebrate the World Meditation Day starting this year. So, what better way to bring the world together than on a virtual global webinar? And therefore, we are here this morning from Sri Lanka and in various time zones across the world to celebrate the World Meditation Day. I'm also particularly delighted that the UNESCO partnered with us in this initiative because it is a very important partnership that we can take forward. And I'm delighted here this morning that we have our good friend, Dr. Sirimali Fernando, the Secretary General for UNESCO in Sri Lanka, also with us. We are meeting here at a time where the world is undergoing changes. And one of the main challenges that we face is mental resilience. Mental resilience in day-to-day life, as well as in conflict zones and beyond. It is no wonder that the world is now turning to meditation as a way out of the challenges, the mental health challenges that we are facing, and to promote health and well-being. The faculty's contribution in terms of research will be highlighted today, but today also gives us an opportunity to have a broader discussion on meditation and work towards a world of peace and harmony. I'm particularly delighted that the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Colombo, the mother of all medical schools in Sri Lanka, has been able to give leadership to this initiative, and that all of you have joined us in that endeavor as we go forward. I'm delighted that Sri Lanka was, in fact, the pioneer in promoting the adoption of the World Meditation Day through the UN as a UN declaration. So therefore, this morning, we are very pleased that the Chargé d'Affaires of the Permanent Mission of Sri Lanka at the United Nations in New York, Mr. Shugishwara Gunaratna, has issued us a message. And I'm pleased to read that message to you. It is my pleasure to provide this message to the virtual global symposium organized by the Center for Meditation Research of the University of Colombo, Faculty of Medicine. It's organized on meditation and its global impact to mark the world Meditation Day. It is my humble privilege to spearhead. It was my humble privilege to spearhead the United Nations General Assembly resolution on behalf of Sri Lanka, declaring 21st December as World Meditation Day, along with the core group of countries comprising of Liechtenstein, Andorra, Mexico, Nepal, and India. The resolution recognizes the link between meditation and sustainable development goals, especially Target 3.4 on promoting mental health and well-being. It also recognizes the universal applicability of meditation as well as complementary approaches to mental health and well-being. This initiative is a small but significant step to raise awareness of meditation in our effort to create a peaceful and sustainable world through the nurturing of contented and peaceful human beings. Sri Lanka, as a proud inheritor of the tradition of meditation practice, can take humble pride in being among the group of countries providing this gift to the world. Sugishwara Gunaratna, Chargé d'Affaires, Permanent Mission of Sri Lanka to the United Nations in New York. So with those words, ladies and gentlemen, let us now begin the virtual global symposium. So once again, I'm really happy and privileged to see so many of you joining us this morning. I welcome you to the webinar, and I look forward to listening to all the talks that are given today. I wish to thank all the speakers who accepted our invitation to be with us this morning. And let's hope that we can make a difference and we can take the world to a better place. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that welcome address, Professor Vajra Disanayake, and talking on the benefits of meditation. Now I would like to cordially invite Dr. Srimati Fernando. She is the Secretary General of the Sri Lanka National Commission for UNESCO. She will deliver an address on behalf of UNESCO.
Ayubowan, Vanakkam, Venerable Mahasangha and other esteemed religious dignitaries, Professors Vajra Disanayake, Sarojai Singha, Dilshani Disanayake, distinguished speakers, and all participants. It's a great honor to address you today as we come together to commemorate the inaugural World Meditation Day. 2 weeks ago, on December 6th this year, the United Nations General Assembly, as Vajira pointed out, unanimously adopted a resolution co-sponsored by Sri Lanka to designate December 21st of every year as a global day to celebrate the significance of meditation. This momentous decision marks a global recognition of meditation as a vital practice, not only for enhancing health and well-being, but also for spreading awareness of its transformative potential to cultivate peace and compassion worldwide. In Sri Lanka, we mark this historic occasion today with a virtual symposium organized by the Center for Meditation Research in the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, in collaboration with the Sri Lanka National Commission for UNESCO. On behalf of the Commission, I thank Professor Sarojai Singha and the Center for Meditation Research for this excellent initiative and extend a warm welcome to all participants. This symposium aims to exchange ideas among contemporary researchers and bridge meditation practitioners with academic research and healthcare communities, uniting traditional practices and insights with contemporary scientific explorations. As many of you know, UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, was established in the aftermath of World War II. Its founding principle declares, and I quote, "Since wars begin in the minds of men and women, it is in the minds of men and women that the defenses of peace must be constructed," unquote. This visionary statement underscores the mind's essential role as the creator of peace. Yet, despite this noble foundation, the immense potential of the mind as a transformative force for fostering unity, compassion, and harmony remains underexplored. Across millennia, meditation has stood as one of humanity's most profound practices for understanding and nurturing the mind's limitless capabilities. In these challenging times, marked by armed conflicts, climate crisis, and rapid technological transformations, meditation offers us a vital pathway. It reminds us to cultivate peace, tolerance, and compassion, not only within ourselves, but also in our communities and the world at large. World Meditation Day is a call to nurture human consciousness as a means of supporting health and well-being while creating peace and harmony across borders. Meditation, one of humanity's oldest spiritual practices, has been cherished across cultures and traditions. It reflects a shared aspiration, not only for inner peace and transcendence, but also for a deeper understanding of existence. In the Buddhist tradition, for example, the insight meditation or vipassana uses a concentrated mind to observe the realities of nature and existence through experiential learning. In contrast, Western science, which has shaped the modern scientific era since 13th century, has primarily focused on understanding physical phenomena through external experiments with limited understanding of the mind and emotions. Recent advances in neuroscience and neurotechnology have created new opportunities to study the changes in the brain during meditation with cognition and emotions and how it affects the overall well-being. However, as we embrace the potential of neurotechnology, we must also remain vigilant about its ethical implications. UNESCO recognizes both the promise and the perils of frontier technologies, including neurotechnology, which can access, manipulate, and emulate brain functions. When combined with artificial intelligence, these advancements challenge our notions of identity, dignity, freedom of thought, and mental privacy. In response to these concerns, UNESCO is developing international guidelines to ensure the ethical use of such technologies, which will be adopted at its General Conference in 2025. Today's symposium, honoring the first World Meditation Day, offers a unique platform to unite the wisdom of traditional meditation practices with the experimental rigor of modern scientific and technological research. Such meaningful exchanges that would allow us to deepen our understanding of meditation's physical, emotional, and spiritual dimensions, while ensuring that scientific advancements in the field are guided by ethical principles. As we celebrate this historic milestone, let us draw inspiration from meditation's timeless teachings to pause, reflect, and cultivate peace within ourselves and for the betterment of our world. I wish you all a meaningful and an enriching symposium. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Srimali Fernando, for those inspiring words and for collaborating with the Center for Meditation Research to mark this historical event. I now would like to cordially invite Professor Dirshani Disanayake, who is the Director of the Center for Meditation Research at the University of Colombo, Sri Lanka. She will now provide an introduction to the webinar and share insights into meditation research.
A beautiful day to all of you joining with us online. It's wonderful to have resource persons and participants from all over the world to celebrate the enhanced recognition of meditation as a global practice. The Center for Meditation Research in the University of Colombo is dedicated to explore the science of meditation. We look into changes from within to outside. We look into the changes of genes, products of genes, chemicals, body systems, and behavior, education, social harmony. So we have a multidisciplinary team looking into all these aspects of meditation. And also we are focusing on interventions that can enhance all these aspects positively in ourselves and in community. Because of the time factor, I invite all of you to visit our website and get more information, obtain more information regarding our centers, the research that we have conducted, and have accessibility to all our publications on our website. And furthermore, with the support of our international supporters, participants, and also the resource persons here today, we are hoping to venture forward and try to support meditation as an evidence-based global practice. The objective of today's symposium is for us to explore how meditation is perceived and practiced all over the world. We will also discuss how research can influence this practice. So we are truly humbled to have researchers, meditation practitioners, meditation trainers with us to enlighten us on these. We will also have a guided meditation session and exposure to a meditation practice in Sri Lanka. During that, we'll have a discussion as well. And later on, you will see a video in which we have kind of struggled to combine findings from 7 PhD studies conducted by the Center for Meditation Research, and you will be exposed to some of our findings. And then the highlight of the program will be the panel discussion, where we will collate all the knowledge that we acquired through discussions and discussion of research and the video, and we will discuss as to how we can get together to promote meditation as an evidence-based practice globally. So I invite you all to join actively to the discussion as well, and I hope you will have a productive symposium today. Thank you again for joining.
Thank you, Professor Dirshani Disanayake, for that overview of the CMR and what's ahead for today. Now actually it is time now to begin the much awaited knowledge sharing on meditation. I cordially invite Emeritus Professor Saroj Jayasinghe, who is an advisory board member at the Center for Meditation Research. He will speak on the global impact of meditation.
Thank you very much. Good morning. To all of you, and a very warm welcome, Venerable Sirs, colleagues. My topic is on global impact of meditation, and I hope to explore the relevance of the UN proposal or the decision, and outline some of the health and other areas meditation could have an impact. And then finally, speak about some of the strategies we need to adopt to enhance the global impact of meditation. So my outline is given here. And since this is a global symposium, I think this would be an ideal opportunity for us to plan and strategize for the next year and beyond. To begin with, it was declared, the UN General Assembly declared World Meditation Day fairly recently. And due to several fortunate incidents, we were able to have this symposium at very short notice. And in my next slides, I want to highlight some of the background and the justification given in this declaration. So as with many UN declarations and the norms followed, they refer to prior and previous resolutions and link with existing resolutions. And you will see the points made by Prof. Dilshani, Prof. Vajra, and Prof. Sirimali on the relevance of meditation in the current context. So it's mainly related to the health benefits and the health impacts, the positive health impacts, and its potential to accelerate the achievement of sustainable development goals. So I've extracted some of the key points. It relates to mental health and well-being, improvement in physical health, and global health related issues. So let's look very briefly at some of these. We are in the know of positive impacts of meditation on hypertension control, cancer pain, glycemic control in diabetes. Some of these studies have been replicated and pioneered in our meditation center. Its impact on stress and chronic pain. And there are systematic reviews and publications which support this view, the health benefits. But let's go beyond health benefits. How would meditation help us to face challenges? The challenges outlined before, challenges of warfare, the challenges of violence, the climate crisis, and AI and autonomous AI weaponry, as well as drone warfare, and so on. Some of the studies are now beginning to show that meditation promotes connectivity to the environment. It reduces carbon footprint, and this was a study done in Sri Lanka, which has confirmed this. Reduces consumption in a very commercialized, highly consumptive society producing tons and tons of waste. We tend to promote consumption, promotes social harmony and connectedness to society, promotes vegetarianism. Right now, we have a situation where the number of animals in captivity for our consumption exceeds the number of animals in the wild. What's the potential for this to have an impact on our survival? And we also heard about the importance of meditation in tackling some of the issues addressed by UNESCO on wars, on conflict resolution. So in addition to health, we are now seeing an emerging relevance of meditation in achieving sustainable development goals. As you all know, Sustainable Development Goals is one attempt to bring in a transformative change to society, to make it more peaceful, to make it more healthy, to make it less stressed, and to live in harmony with the environment. And if you try to look at the points, the direct impacts of meditation on sustainable development goals, goal 3 related to health is well known, but the other goals on peace, on responsible consumption, on life on land, life below water, climate action, and so on, are other areas we need to consider. And I've just outlined some of the studies which over the years are beginning to show a positive impact of meditation on the globe's health, the planet's health, and the Sustainable Development Goals. So what's the action we could take? We need to mainstream meditation in health. The health sector needs to use and utilize and apply the advances of provision of care provided by meditation. We need to introduce it to the education sector. In Sri Lanka, the Sati Pasala has been able to introduce mindfulness into the education sector. We need to introduce to policymakers and decision making. And we see the British Parliament taking a lead in this with a parliamentary group practicing mindfulness. And we need to explore the role of meditation in achieving sustainable development goals and beyond. So I see activities to raise awareness, further research, training of trainers as key to the to implement some of the points made in the resolution passed by the UN. And these strategies should include UN mechanisms, so that there are global partnerships between UNESCO, WHO, and UNDP. As you know, UNESCO is focusing on education, culture, and so on, WHO on health, and UNDP on the Sustainable Development Goals. We need to have regional groupings. Example, the CRO group from the Southeast Asian region could take a lead in promoting meditation in this region, especially because this is the heritage from this region which has come forth to the humanity. Then we should be thinking of a global consortium of meditation research, which will collaborate at a global level. And here is the challenge open to the Meditation Research Center of our own faculty. And then develop databases and networks of sites and institutions offering meditation practices to people. So in summary, we need to mainstream meditation in health. We need to promote it in education and policymaking. We need to explore the means to achieve SDGs and beyond. And we need to develop some strategies to amplify the worldwide influence by establishing research consortiums, networks, and resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emeritus Professor Sarojai Singh, for that overview on how meditation can improve health and well-being, not only individually, but also as communities globally. Now, with great reverence, I invite Bante Shravasti Dhammika, an advisor to the Buddha Dhamma Mandal Society in Australia, to share his meditative experiences with a focus on Australia.
Okay, thank you. I seem to hear my own voice repeating itself. Is that? No, it's okay now. Okay, thank you for inviting me to this seminar. I'm delighted to participate. It seems to me that the only religious practice that has attracted any attention and gained any credibility from the scientific community is meditation. Not specifically Buddhist meditation, but meditation in general. And I'd just like to make a few observations which may stimulate some discussion when we have our discussion later. And this is based on my experience of practicing meditation and teaching it for over 40 years. And I'd just like to add also that I'm speaking from the point of view of early Buddhism, sometimes called Theravada, based on the teachings of the Buddha as recorded in the Pali Tripitaka. So in my experience, when I come across people who are practicing meditation or wanting to practice it, it seems to me that there are three reasons why people take up meditation. And the first of these I will call therapeutic. And by that I mean that an individual has some personality problem, perhaps even a psychiatric problem, and somehow or another they've been told or they've come to understand that meditation is a cure-all for such problems. They take up meditation, and either it has no effect upon them, or else they actually deteriorate. Now, I believe that meditation has got a potential to help people with mental health problems, but only if it is taught by somebody who has a solid grounding in psychiatry, psychology, or counseling skills. And it seems to me that most traditional meditation teachers, usually monks, do not have such skills, and therefore really that they're generally not well placed to help this type of person, the person who is interested in meditation because they think that it will help them deal with their mental health problems. The second type of person, the second type of reason why some people take up meditation is, I will call it spiritual. This type of person generally believes that it's possible to become fully enlightened or develop unity with God or whatever it happens to be. And they have a rather romantic and unrealistic view of the goals, the spiritual goals that are being promoted by meditation teachers. I find this quite a lot in the Theravada tradition. And when I hear or talk to and listen to people who are like this, I notice that they're always talking about whether they have attained the 6th stage or the 10th stage, or whether their experience is the jhana or something like that. And they're looking forward, probably quite unrealistically, to having a profound spiritual experience in a matter of months, hopefully, then inevitably they start having problems. The problems of performance anxiety. I've often come across groups of meditation practitioners who are talking about, have you reached the 7th stage yet, or the 6th stage? Nirodha Samapatti, how about that? Have you got that yet? And this seems to me that after a while, they basically give up practicing meditation out of frustration, that they haven't attained anything other than anxiety, and they're still worrying about the fact that they've got still got thoughts or something like that. And once again, I find that this type of approach to meditation is sometimes as a result of listening to traditional meditation teachers talking about very, very exalted meditations, meditational states, which are certainly within reach, but not for the ordinary person who is married, has got a family, has got a job, has got still paying off their house. It simply isn't going to happen that they're going to achieve any deep and profound meditation state, and they end up giving up in frustration. So that's the therapeutic reason for meditation. I've just discussed what I will call the spiritual reasons for meditation. And the last group of people, the last reason why some people take up meditation, in my experience, is what I will call practical. They have heard, and there's some truth to it, that meditation will help them function better in a complex and difficult world. It will help them deal with stress, anxiety, and problems like that. In other words, they have realistic goals and they practice meditation for realistic ends. And in my experience, this person generally doesn't have too much interest in Buddhist philosophy, doesn't have much interest in Buddhist psychology. They don't want to learn Pali. They're just interested in meditation to help them deal better with their life situation. And it is this type of person that, in my experience, tends to benefit well from meditation, and generally it helps them in their daily life. So there are the three types of reasons why people meditate, in my experience, and the three types of people who are interested in that. Now, as far as the future of meditation, I think it is very important to point out that in all schools of meditation, to the best of my knowledge, but particularly in the case of in the early Buddhist tradition, it seems to me very clear from the Tripitaka, the Pali Tripitaka, that the goal and purpose of meditation is radical world transcendence. From my reading of the Buddhist scriptures, it is not about trying to attain world peace. It's not about, the goal of meditation is not that. It's not about living in better conditions with your neighbor. It's not about having a more stable and happy family life. All of those things may come about because of meditation, but the sole purpose of meditation, in the Buddhist tradition at least, is radical world transcendence, attaining a state whereby you opt out of what Buddhism calls samsara. Now, as a Buddhist and as a Buddhist monk, I see Buddhism as that's the goal of it. And my hope is that before I die, I will have come a little closer to that goal. However, this raises a problem. If that is the goal of meditation from the Buddhist tradition, to what degree do we have to put that goal on the back burner when we teach people meditation? Because so many types of meditation are clearly not meant to make you more comfortable in the world. I will give an example of that. We have a meditation called Pilikul Bhavana. We have another meditation called Marananusati, recollecting on death, etc. Is the average person living at home with their family going to benefit in any way from meditation like this? And if we're going to make meditation, Buddhist meditation, available to people beyond the Buddhist tradition, what aspects of meditation do we need to put on the back burner and take those aspects of meditation which may help people live better in the world? And will that have an effect on the effectiveness of Buddhist meditation? I think that these are important issues that have to be discussed if we're talking about Buddhism, if we're talking about Buddhist meditation. And I hope maybe we can bring up some of these issues later when we have a discussion. Thank you.
Many merits to Bante Shravasti Dhammika to clearly distinguishing the different objectives of meditators and how these objectives will yield different results. Now I would like to warmly welcome Dr. Karma Tenzin, who is an associate professor at the Faculty of Undergraduate Medicine, Bhutan, and the University of Newcastle, Australia. He will now share his insights and experiences related to Bhutan's practice of meditation.
Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. I would like to begin by paying my respects to the elders, past, present, and future, as per the culture of the Australian society. This is where I live and I reside at this point. With this, I also would like to wish everyone Kuzuzangpo. This is from the land where I belong to, Bhutan. Before I actually begin, I would like to also briefly start by putting a disclaimer that I am no meditation expert, and however, by being the virtue of being Buddhist, I practice a bit in my own ways, in my own small ways, today, whatever small little experience I'm going to share, it will be from my own personal experiences and some of the experiences and the national level projects that we do so that our society in a way can be exposed to and can experience meditation. With this, let me begin my very short presentation. I'm not sure if you can see in a slide mode. Can you see in a slideshow mode? Am I? Yeah. Anyone would like to just confirm if you can
yes,
see?
we can.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, I mean, it would be, as I mentioned, I would like to actually try. We have tried our best over last many days. We have been trying to look at creating a talk which encompasses the word meditation. But when we were discussing with many of the Buddhist experts and others, our only condition was that we would like to make it as secular as possible, and we will try to look at as much as scientific rather than more cultural or religious affairs, at least for today's presentation. So I would like to start by putting it that we'll try to have this as secular as possible. However, just for the context setting, I have put in some of the common meditation practice that are practiced in Bhutan and we know in Bhutan. One is called Jine, and I'm sure many of the other part of the world it is called Samantha or calm abiding. So when we say the word Jine, which is written in a very national language, Ji means it is more of a state, and then Ne means more of being at more peacefulness, more at being to self, sort of a. So that's why it's called Jine in our modern in our Dzongkha. And then here the main concept is basically looking at your own breathing, experience your own breathing, and then following the entire meditation process based and anchored around the breathing. And again, this is, I think this is quite common again, yet I'm trying to introduce today here is mainly because we have in our own language, again, it is called Thakthong. Thakthong. That means here you are trying to actually visualize things. You are really trying to understand things. So again, that's why in very plain, simple language, Thakthong means basically you're trying to see something, you're trying to gain something. So that's why it's called Thakthong. And I'll not just really go into detail. I think this is very very academic, so I'll not go into this. But it was that there was thinking that maybe it will be required. Maybe after listening to all our learned preceding speakers, I think this is not required. So even this, I'll not really go into the detail of it. But however, I'll touch some of them now. This is the third type of sort of a meditation, which is again very common in day-to-day affairs of, especially in Bhutanese, and I'm sure it is very much in Vajrayana Buddhism and the Himalayan, region. We have where the meditation is in the form of chanting mantras, and our people sit for hours chanting mantras, focusing on the mantra that they chant, and the mantra they chant depends on which type of Buddha they pray to. For instance, here if you look at the Buddha of wisdom, we have different mantra. Buddha of courage, we have different mantra, and similarly for others. So that's a third type of day to day. Even if you are not a very highly spiritual or learned religious figure, it is done by or conducted by every day commoner or common citizen. The fourth type of meditation that again is quite common in our region, and especially again coming from Buddhism, Buddhistic, it's again we are trying. The idea is to show that we have mark stands, which again not all, we have hundreds of mask stanzas in Buddhist, and in Bhutan, but then some of them actually form a type of meditation, which is quite often in a modern terminology is called the movement meditation, where people actually go into meditative pose by moving during the movement, during the performance of the mark stance. And then of course we have the other type of meditation where some of the people, especially this is where some of the learned spiritual individuals actually go into practice of so-called 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days of meditation retreat, where they do not associate with any individual. The only association they have is someone will carry their ration and put it outside their cave or outside their small hut. They meditate, but then they do not talk or they do not associate physically or mingle with this particular person or whoever comes to meet or have some communication. So these people, again, this is again, if you are practicing serious practitioner, many of the high achievers, at least in Buddhism, they have to go through at least once in a lifetime. And then, of course, if you look at now from the very, very moving away from those, if you look at our national goal of Bhutan, which we call it the gross national happiness, even in the gross national happiness, out of the 9 domain, in the indicators, I've not put it, but in the indicators, if you look at of the 9 domains, there are indicators where there are mention of meditation, at least in 3 domains of psychological well-being. Under this one, and under the health, again, there's another sort of a meditation indicator, and the third one being cultural diversity and resilience, again the meditation. So therefore, if you look at, yes, as a country we have an aspiration on trying to really take the meditation process forward by indicating by putting in indicators, therefore making it measurable. Therefore we have a lot of data points which actually we can use to publish at some point, or I'm sure the gross national happiness researchers in Bhutan are already publishing. Unfortunately, I couldn't see some paper, at least for this presentation. Maybe my search was limited. That's something I was thinking. And from all this different cultural perspective, more historical perspective, what has Bhutan seen in last 5 to 10 years? Uh, Now the jine, the samantha meditation is actually converted, made into more concise, made into more simpler form. And now these jine meditation are taught to office goers, taught to the students, and in beyond. And of course, vipassana meditation is again becoming very popular in Bhutan, and of course in the region. And the other thing that actually originated from Google, Chad Ming, I think I'm sure many of the people who, I mean, especially the expert meditators will, I'm sure, must have heard his name, Chad Ming. I think he was a Google engineer, but then he had it enough. And by virtue of he being practitioner since the childhood, he proposed. And therefore, if you look at this search inside yourself, at least in Bhutan, we have trained 90% of our civil servants in search inside yourself. This is, all the common meditation or meditational practices are put in, packaged in, but with solid evidence, with a lot of research, all neuroscience research based explanation. And therefore, this has received high level of acceptance in Bhutan again. And then, of course, we have seen beyond. It has gone, as far as we know, it was there in Bangladesh, it was there in Timor-Leste, it was there in Saudi Arabia, it was there in Europe, South American country, African countries. So therefore, SIY is something again gaining more as a particularly as a meditation, especially as a meditation, because it encourages so many meditation practice, simple as 2 minute breathing exercise, mindful eating, for instance, right? Mindful driving. I mean, this all various mindfulness and meditation process. So this again is quite common, and Bhutan is taking it very seriously. Now, just to put it little on a smaller context, in the medical program where we worked for quite a number of years. Finally, we put up a medical school, and then in the medical curriculum, because the medical professionals work in a very stressful manner, and therefore, in many ways, we tend to become desensitized into emotions, desensitized to the cultural needs and cultural setting, therefore the human needs. So we have put in a small area where our students are taught this mindfulness. Not only that, this is again learning from our own cultural, and historical context. We have something called four immeasurable qualities. Again, here, if you look at, it's again trying to incorporate meditation and then take the development of all the qualities. And of course, how about imparting this same to the next generation? So we started very recently, started with something called, we call it Gelsong, but it is basically the national service. So any Bhutanese who is 18 years completed have to undergo this 1 year rigorous program, and then meditation forms one of the key sort of activity they do in those 12 months. It's one of the key for mental resilience, for trying to focus on their life. So again, meditation is going to play a big role. So that's again something we are doing. And I would like to end here by, again, this again, maybe the figure, maybe the person seems very, very Buddhist, but then this is like a case study that I took up for this presentation. I mean, this particular highly learned Buddhist practitioner, he was a layman for almost 43 years old. I mean, of age. He was doing well, but then one fine day he just left and went into meditation. He lives in a mountain which is almost 7,000 meters, nearly 7,000 meters, and what we have seen is that he meditates for hours and hours in a day, with almost just a single meal, and then personally I have had association with him for last 5 years or more even. And then my observation is that the meditation probably it is attributed to meditation. He do not have a single gray hair at the age of 70. How many of us are luxurious? Of course, we paint, we do the painting and make it black. That is different story. But his is a very natural phenomena. And then he has no physical illness. Of course, people can say maybe he's eating just one meal, so therefore he is taking very limited number of toxins, from microplastic to all the artificial foodstuffs that we eat. But he has absence of no, I mean, he has no physical diseases, even illnesses at this age of nearly 70, and he lives at the snow-capped mountain for all his days. And of course, amazingly, he has not slept on a bed for last 17 years. He just sits in a meditative pose, even when we tend to go to sleep. So he hardly sleeps. So I think, looking at again, what I'm trying to bring in was, I think meditation, as seen by many literature, as shown by many literature, the case study was trying to bring in a life example of how meditation actually benefits, is what I would like to end with. Yeah, and my acknowledgement to the expert, Khenpo Nyima and Khenpo Changsem, who really tried their best to guide us in this presentation of trying to make it more secular rather than spiritual in nature. Yeah. Thank you so much to Professor Saroj, Jayasingha, and the team for the opportunity. And thank you once more to everyone. And if there are any questions, if I'm open, otherwise, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Karman Tenzin, for giving us a comprehensive understanding of meditative practices in Bhutan and how you have incorporated those to education. And now we have the privilege of listening to Professor Aurobindo Rautri. He is from the Department of Electrical Engineering at the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, IIT, India. With a deep interest in the intersection of technology and well-being, Professor Rautri will share his insights on the global experiences of meditation and its relevance today, with a special focus on India. Over to you, Professor Rautri.
So this is Aurobindo from IIT Kharagpur. I am a little cold and cough, so I am covered up a little bit, so sorry about that. So this is, I will be presenting for 15 minutes, out of which 10 minutes will be presentation and 5 minutes if you have any questions. You can also email the questions. So we are working on the research aspects of Indian traditional meditation methods. So using signal processing perspective. So just these are some of the things from the Hatha Yoga Pradipaka. Chale Bhate Chale Kirtan Nischale Nischalang Bhave Yogi Stanuttam Apnoti Tato Vayu Nirodhaya, which is in Sanskrit, which means breath control is self-control, breath mastery is self-mastery, breathlessness is immortality. This is not the meaning, but some interpretation here. So breath is the thing which is used for achieving the state of mind, which is meditation. So there are many definitions of meditation. In the modern perspective, meditation is mostly related to mind and controlling the different thought processes. So these are the modern definitions of mind. It is a practice which is related to consciousness. Then it is intentional, accepting, non-judgmental. So there are other things which are associated with emotion. This is the modern definition which the scientists all over the world they follow. Whereas for the Indian process, it is about the dissolution of the mind. So in Indian context, it is said consciousness begins upon dissolution of mind. That means the thought has to be reduced, streamlined. And this is done by pranayama and then different states of pranayama. And there are like dhyana, dharana, samadhi, there are different states of meditation. So the process is basically the breath. So this is another sloka. I am not going into this. So this is again from Hatha Yoga Pradipaka. So this starts with prana, which is essentially the breath. By breath control, we can do the mind control. So this is the breath control which leads to the mind control and the state of meditation. So there are a few ways to reach the meditative state. One is by pranayama and mudras. One is also by japa and chanting continuously. Either of them, you lose the state of the mind and you become one with some infinity, and that is the state of meditation. Anyway, so we are just engineers. We want to study the effect of meditation, not the meditation. What happens when somebody meditates for few minutes? And there are different kinds of subjects. We have conducted experiments almost on about 1,000 subjects at different times, and the subjects belong to very experienced meditators, very new novice meditators, then people who have meditated for some time, and we have observed the three things, that is body, breath and mind. What happens to the body, what happens to the breath, and what happens to the mind. So mind has two aspects, one is brain and one is the behavioral part. So the stillness or the calmness of body we are trying to see, like gestures, posture. The finest movement of the body is eye saccade, eye movement parameters, the neurotransmitters from saliva analysis. Saliva is taken before meditation and after meditation. Then EMG, the muscular ability. Then blood flow through spleen and face by way of thermal imaging. Then we study the stillness of breath by looking at the heart rate patterns, breath rate and breath rate patterns. Then we look at the stillness of brain by EEG activity, and then we finally go to the behavioral pattern by conducting certain psychomotor tests. So these are different parameters we study after, during, and before, during and after meditation. We have control subjects who do not do meditation, do something else. So the effect of meditation, as we are seeing, the first effect of meditation is on health. Your two health, for example, the health of your physiological process. By breathing and pranayama, you can increase your blood flow to the brain and you will be able to control many parameters. And the second is on the mind or the mental health. Mental health is a big issue in India. In IITs, which are leading universities of India, there are a lot of cases where the students are getting depressed and sometimes they are also ending their life. So the mental health has become a prime issue in government of India. And there are so many, and India is a developing country and there are too much competition. So meditation is one of the ways to control the mental health. So this is what meditation does to the health. And it also has health on the emotional control, stress management, cognition, alertness and attention, memory functioning. So all these things we have studied. So these are all evident from the famous Bhagavad Gita. There is a sloka. You say, what happens if somebody achieves the state of meditation? Dukkhesu anubigna mana, sukkhesu vikeda pruha, ita raga bhaya pradha, tisarhi amuni ruchyate. That is, they become detached. As a result of detachment, they are less affected by the external stimuli. So they have better emotional control, better stress management, and other cognitive processes. So these are lots of research centers worldwide where they do research on meditation. In India, Government of India has one. They have a specific wing called Satyam, where they have initiated grants for conducting research in meditation. And in US and Europe, there are hundreds of research centers who conduct research on meditation. So we have proposed these are the measures to measure the stillness of body, stillness of breath, and stillness of brain. So stillness of body, there is a typo here. So like we want to see the gesture postures by way of accelerometers, then eye saccade by looking at the electrooculogram EOG, neurotransmitter by ELISA analysis of the saliva pattern samples, then muscular activity through EMG, blood flow through mainly the facial, that is through thermal and hyperspherical imaging, skin conductance through GSR, and facial expression through thermal and normal video patterns. Then for breath, we use ECG, pulse rate, breath pattern, voice pattern. Sometimes you do by non-invasive, that is without touching the body, by using radars. The stillness of brain we look at by EEG and self-assessment test, and then behavioral pattern by way of emotional behavior. So first thing is the cognitive state. We have seen that the meditation is directly related to alertness. So alertness is expressed, there is a specific movement of eye called saccade. So in the saccadic movement, the alertness is recorded. We have seen the saccadic velocity increases after meditation. As a result, alertness increases. Then we have this thermal imaging or hyperspectral imaging. We want to see the calmness achieved in the face. Before and after meditation, what happens to the blood flow pattern? What happens to the balance in the breathing? So we use of thermography. Then we have neurophysiology. So we look at the, now in the present case, we are looking at EEG patterns, and EEG is on the scalp, and therefore you do an inversion process to record the scalp EEG and find out the information pathway inside the brain. And we also look at the connectivity. So we have different publications. You can see starting from IEEE or EEG microstate detection during meditation. You can see inferring functional brain connectivity during meditation. Then you have got this phase locking corticocortical brain rhythms during meditation. We have lots of publications from our group, like we have done Kriya Yoga meditation and look at the patterns, EEG patterns. So there are lots of research, you can see that. So therefore, so you can see the lot of research here on meditation. You can see. So I think Sri Lankan University is also doing lots of work on meditation. We can collaborate at any time. So we are also developing building products on meditation. So therefore, so you can it is up to you. So if you can to collaborate with us, we can have a wonderful collaboration on the research in meditation. And then we look at the neurochemistry of meditation. This is saliva sample analysis. So we collect the saliva before meditation and after meditation and look at different neurotransmitters. We see the hormones which are responsible for happiness. They get serotonin, etc. They are more generated after meditation. So so these are difficulties while conducting experiments on meditation. One important difficulty is getting a authentic traditional method of meditation. Like from Patanjali Yoga Sutra, there is one meditation which is mentioned called Kriya Yoga. So the Kriya Yoga meditation, you have to look for the authentic meditation method. Because I am connected to several monasteries, I could figure out the authentic meditation methods. And then we have to prove the authenticity of methods by way of a lot of literature review. Then finding subjects who want to meditate and also who want to be there for some time. Then creating a conducive environment for the experiment, that is another challenge. The inference of instrumentation with meditation, so interference will be there because when you put somebody on EEG, there will be a lot of problem with the subject while doing meditation. Then also there are a lot of variations because they are human subjects, so there will be a lot of intra-subject variations. So looking for a pattern is very important. All the features which are feature engineering is very important. Then interaction between experimental and meditation. So these are some of the things. So we have two things. So we have conditions like pre-meditation, during meditation, and post-meditation, and we have groups like control and meditator. Meditators have two groups: long-term and novice. So these are the parameters we have measured: electrooculogram, electro-EEG, then galvanic skin response, saliva sample analysis, voice recordings, blood pressure, thermal images, saccadic parameters, brain connectivity, skin conductance, neurotransmitters. All these things have been measured. The corresponding parameters are there. So this is the target timeline of a typical meditation. So this is the you can say the process. That is, first you bring in the subject, you make a baseline checklist, then you have a 20 minutes of EEG and EOG recording, then resting for 5 minutes, then cognitive task set, Stroop test and TMT test, then resting for 3 minutes, then chanting Om, then guided meditation for 8 minutes, Om chanting, then resting, then cognitive test, resting, then EEG disconnections, closure therapy. So this is one of the protocols of the experiment. So we have lots of subjects from India as well as abroad who are there in the monastery. You can see here, we have seen this red, this particular figure shows the peak saccadic velocity, all subjects. Invariably, the alertness increased irrespective of the subjects. So you can see this. So the fixed academic velocity increase. That means the alertness of subjects after meditation increase. This is one beautiful derivation out of it. That means if you do meditation and then write, it is a better experience and you will commit less errors. So then there are, source localization. We can see how the sources are used. I can show the video, but there is no time. So when you meditate, the particular sources are activated and connectivity is also better. These are connectivity measures. So brain becomes fully connected for meditators, particularly this is meditators, this is non-meditators. So the connectivity pattern is obvious here. Here the connectivity pattern is random. So I think I am coming to the end of the subject. So this is a huge team of researchers here. So there are many more which are already here. So these are some of the past research we did with Samsung and other people, other things. So there are a lot of publications. So now I end my talk. If you have any questions, I'm really sorry that I had to wind up quickly. So if you have any questions, please go ahead.
Thank you, Professor Rautri. You can join the question and answer session later. And thank you also for providing empirical evidence to show the numerous benefits of meditation. Now we had the privilege of listening to Dr. Mo Tidakyo. She is from the School of Medicine at IMU University in Malaysia. She will share her insights on the global experiences of meditation and its relevance with a special focus on Myanmar.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon from Malaysia. It's a pleasure to be here on World Meditation Day to share about meditation methods in Myanmar, a country deeply rooted in Buddhist traditions. First of all, let me begin with a disclaimer. While I'm not an expert in meditation or its historical teachings, I have had the opportunity to practice and observe various meditation techniques in Myanmar since young. So my aim today is simple. I'm not providing scholarly insights, but to share what is commonly practiced in our country and offer a glimpse into the rich traditions that shape Myanmar meditation in Myanmar. So the purpose of this presentation is to provide insight into the most prevalent meditation techniques that we practice in Myanmar and explore how they are integrated into the daily lives of monks and lay people, and insight into the renowned institutions that offer meditation in Myanmar. So I hope at the end of my talk, you will have a deeper understanding of why Myanmar's meditation traditions are unique and globally significant. In Myanmar, we practice two main types of meditation. The first one is, yes, of course, we have known Vipassana meditation or insight meditation, that we focus on mindfulness and awareness. So the aim is to develop insight into the nature of reality. So Vipassana in Myanmar, we practice Vipassana meditation as taught by teachers like Mahasi Sayadaw, which emphasizes mindfulness of the present moment with a strong focus on observing the rising and falling of the abdomen during breathing. And another type is samatha meditation, which is the concentration meditation. And this practice emphasizes on the mind in a single object, such as the breath, to develop calmness and stability. So we use this one, samatha, and we use object like the breath only, anapana. And we rarely use facial image, and we don't use any sound to stabilize the wandering mind. So the benefit of samatha practice leads to the tranquil mind and prepare practitioners for the development of the deeper insight through vipassana. And while Vipassana and Samatha are primary, Metta meditation is also commonly practiced in Myanmar. Metta involves generating feelings of unconditional love and kindness towards oneself and other. So how we practice is we repeat phrases such as may all beings be happy, may all beings be peaceful, while focusing on radiating kindness. So these three methods, Vipassana, Samatha, and Metta, complement each other, helping mediators cultivate both concentration, insight, and compassion. So meditation in Myanmar is not to formal retreats. It is part of the daily life for monks and lay person. For monks, meditation is essential for their monastic daily life, and their teachings and practice passed down through generations. And for example, a typical day of the monk starts with pre-dawn meditation, almround, study for scriptures, extended periods of sitting and walking meditation. For lay person like us, we practice during religious festivals, at home, or through short-term retreats and meditation centers. So it's like a balancing with our daily life together with to improve mindfulness and reduce stress and strengthen our connection to Buddhist teachings. So sometimes we went to the 10 days retreats at the centers where we follow a rigorous yet transformative routine of continuous sitting and walking meditation. So especially like festivals during Tinjan Water Festival in April or the Tinjo Festival in October. So meditation plays a prominent role for lay people, dedicating time to meditation and spiritual reflection. So why Myanmar is unique for meditation practice? To begin with, we have historical significance, like Mahasi Sayadawji's method of noting sensation and thoughts have influenced meditation centers across Asia, Europe, and then Americas. Next one is, and then we also follow Vipassana, Theravada Buddhism, which is the pivotal rule, and we preserve this meditation techniques. Okay. And then another one is cultural integration. Meditation is deeply woven to Myanmar religious and social life, as I just mentioned. And then finally, influence of masters. So like Lady Sayadaw was known for teaching Vipassana meditation to lay person, making mindfulness available outside monasteries. He started all the techniques. Mahasi Sayadaw developed the widely practiced rising and falling abdominal method for mindfulness. And Pa'aw Sayadaw focused on combining concentration, samatha, and insight vipassana. So all these aspects make Myanmar not only a significant cultural and spiritual hub, but also a bridge connecting between the ancient practice with modern day meditation enthusiasts. We have more than thousands of meditation centers in the whole country. And in here, I have mentioned some famous centers like Mahasi Meditation Center. They specialize in Vipassana meditation using the noting method. And Panditayama Meditation Center was founded by Sayadaw U Pandita, and this center is known for rigorous retreat requiring full-day meditation practices. Pa'aw forest monasteries are known for offering a serene forest environment ideal for intensive long-term retreats. And Chamyayeda Meditation Center provides meditation training for both monks, nuns, and lay people. So these centers provide peaceful and supportive environment, allowing practitioners for all levels to deepen their understanding of mindfulness and meditation. So let's explore some key meditation techniques that are practiced in Myanmar. So first we have mindfulness breathing, anapanasati, that I have mentioned right now. And we also collaborate with walking meditation, which practice alongside sitting. And we start, this is step-by-step practice, like start with slow, deliberate step, breaking down the movement into parts like lifting, moving, and placing. So the benefit is it can extend sitting meditation and promotes physical well-being and sharpen mindfulness during movement. And body scan techniques, it involves as a part of the Vipassana. It systematically observes physical sensation from head to toe. So gradually bringing our awareness to each part of the body, start from the top of the head and moving down. And we observe any sensations, warmth, tingling, tension, relaxation, without reacting to them. So this practice enhances the body awareness and strengthen equanimity. Okay. And sometimes we added Metta Bhavana or loving kindness meditation together with these three main techniques. So why Myanmar stands out as a global hub for meditation practice? So as I would like to say, the first one is authenticity of teaching. And Myanmar remains one of the main faithful preservers of Theravada Buddhist teaching. And we have meditation methods taught by the Buddhist, and it is aligned with the Buddhist texts such as Satipatthana Sutta. And we also have renowned teachers and we have a very, they are systematic, like eminent meditation masters like Mahasi Sayadaw, Ledi Sayadaw, Pa'aw Sayadaw. They have created systematic, structured meditation approaches that are suitable for both beginners and advanced practitioners. And globally, these methods are globally adopted and inspiring mindfulness and insight meditation movements worldwide. And the next one is accessibility of meditation center that I just mentioned. These centers cater for both locals and international visitors. And another one is cultural integration, such as this meditation is not just a practice, but a way of life for both monks and lay person. And the last one that I would mention is global impact. And for example, Vipassana meditation is popularized globally by teachers like our late S.N. Goenka, who is deeply influenced by Myanmar tradition. So all these authenticity, rich history, and global influence make a unique destination for anyone seeking to explore meditation in its purest form. So let me share about my personal experience this year. In October, I had the great opportunity to spend 10 days at the Pa'aw Meditation Center in Tengkil, Malaysia. And I practiced samatha meditation there. So one of the most inspiring aspects of this experience was the sense of continuity. Although I was far from Myanmar, I was able to assess the authentic practice of Pa'aw Forest Monastery thanks to the availability of international centers. So for the conclusion of my presentation, I would like to share a profound teaching from Buddha himself, Apamadena Sambadita. So these words serve as a timeless reminder for all of us to remain mindful, dedicated, and unwavering in our chasing of personal growth and enlightenment. Whether in meditation or life, this message inspires us to strive diligently and wholeheartedly toward our goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. for reminding us of the Buddha's word Appamadeta Sampadeta. And thank you again for that comprehensive overview of the unique meditative practices in Myanmar. And also we are delighted to hear about the Mahasi Sayadaw method from a Myanmar citizen. Thank you. Now we have the privilege of listening to Assistant Professor Thanachapon Kitikong. She is from the Faculty of Fine and Applied Arts at Phon Khan University, Thailand. She will share her insights on the global experiences of meditation and its relevance, particularly in the context of Thailand.
Good morning, everyone. On this World Meditation Day, we come together to honor a practice that transcends cultures and boundaries, offering clarity, connection, and purpose. Before I begin, I want to express my heartfelt apologies for not being able to join you in person today. However, I am deeply honored to have the opportunity to share some of my thoughts and reflection with you through this symposium. As I speak, you will see a video playing from one of my works titled Being, created in 2020. Today, I'd like to share with you the unique perspective of Thai meditation and its profound influence on both life and art, particularly through my own experiences as performer and educator. Meditation at its essence is a tool for seeing the world clearly. It unveils the layers of our being, sharpens our awareness, and helps us embrace the impermanence of life. Through its practices, we find meaningful ways to live and create, to connect deeply with ourselves and others. In Thailand, this unique universal practice has found unique expression through Theravada Buddhism, shaping a cultural identity that resonates far beyond its border. While meditation is practiced globally, in Thailand it is deeply rooted in Theravada Buddhist teachings. And central to this tradition is sati, mindfulness, a state of active awareness and engaging with the present moment. Sati is not passive observation, it is deliberate act of being present with clarity and intention. It is accompanied by sampajanya, or clear comprehension, which fosters insight into the nature of impermanence, anicca, non-self, anatta, and cause of suffering, dukkha. Thai meditation practices such as breathing meditation, walking meditation, and dynamic hand movement meditation provide practical ways to embody these mindfulness teachings. This method integrates physical movement with mindful observation, turning ordinary actions into profound meditative experiences. By paying close attention to the rhythm of breath or the sensation of walking, practitioners develop a heightened awareness of their connection to the present moment. In my work as performance practitioner and educator, I've integrated Thai Buddhist meditation practice with somatic movement principles, creating a framework for performers to cultivate embodied presence. This presence, the ability to fully inhabit one's physical and mental experiences, is central to effective and meaningful performance. This training is structured around mindfulness or meditation-based movement, or I call it MBM. Practitioners engage in exercise that combine breathing, sensory awareness, and movement improvisation. For example, breathing and movement. Performance practitioners explore how different breathing patterns influence movement, paying attention to the body's response to inhalation and exhalation. Explore the senses. Activities focus on observing stimuli from 5 senses and their impact on movement. Touch, sound, and sight become sources of inspiration, linking inner awareness to external engagement. Mental phenomena and response. Performers are guided to observe their thoughts, emotions, and memories as they arise during movement, learning to respond creatively rather than react passively. This exercise built a performer's ability to embody their experiences authentically. They learn to observe and deconstruct their physical and mental process, transforming these insights into creative resources for performance. Allow me to share some of reflection from my own experiences and the journeys of performers I have worked with. One participant in a recent workshop used the MBM approach to explore her sense of self as a trans woman. Through mindful movement, she delved into emotional and physical tensions. She experiences her transformation. This practice allowed her to express the truth of her being in a way that was both deeply personal and universal resonant. Another performer explored childhood memories through movement. She revisited sight from her past using sensory stimuli to trigger memories and translate them into dance. Her movements become a bridge between past and present, between personal history and artistic expression. These stories illustrate the transformative power of meditation in art. By cultivating mindfulness, performers gain access to a deeper well of creativity. They learn to work with vulnerability and impermanence, turning these challenges into strengths. In a world that often prioritizes speed and efficiency, these practices remind us the importance of stillness and contemplation. Meditation provides a counterbalance to the demands of modern life, offering tools for resilience, creativity, and connection. Moreover, the integration of mindfulness and movement highlights the universal nature of meditation, whether through walking, dancing, or breathing. The principles of Thai meditation can be adapted to the diverse culture and artistic context. This adaptability makes them not only relevant but essential in fostering global understanding and collaboration. Meditation is not just a practice or form of the mind or body. It is a way of seeing the world. It teaches us to observe without judgment, to accept without clinging, and to engage without fear. In art, this translates into performances that are not only technically skilled, but also deeply human. It allows both performers and audience to connect with the raw essence of existence. The Buddhist perspective on impermanence is particularly relevant here. In acknowledging that everything is in flux, performers learn to embrace the ephemeral nature of their craft. A movement, a gesture, or a moment on stage is fleeting, yet it holds immense meaning. This awareness enriches their artistry, fostering authenticity and presence. In a broader terms, meditation offers a framework for practicing life itself, encourage us to slow down, to pay attention, to observe, and to act with good intention. These qualities are not only reflected in art and valuable in performance, but also in how we navigate relationships, challenges, and opportunities in our daily lives. Before concluding, I want to address the broader connotation of meditation. Often, meditation is seen as solitary or passive activity. But in reality, it is active engagement with life. It is about turning into subtleties of experience, recognizing the interconnectedness of all things, and responding with wisdom and compassion. In art, this means creating works that resonate on a deeper level. In life, it means cultivating relationships and action that reflect our shared humanity. Meditation, then, is not just a practice, it is a way of being. As we celebrate World Meditation Day, let us reflect on the profound impact of meditation on our lives and our art. Thai meditation practices, with their unique blend of mindfulness and movement, offer a pathway to clarity, presence, and creativity. They remind us that life itself is a performance, one that demands our full attention and wholehearted participation. Meditation teaches us to see the world clearly, to embrace impermanence, and to act with intention. Whether on stage or off, it helps us find meaning in the moment and purpose in our journey. Thank you for sharing this time with me. May your meditation practice, whatever form it takes, guide you toward greater insight, connection, and peace. Thank you. Sawadee-ka.
Thank you, Professor Kitty Kong, for that wonderful presentation and for showing us how Anicca Dukkha Anattama can be understood through movements, creativity, and daily experiences. Now we had the privilege of listening to Dr. Iresha Gunasinghe, who is a cardiologist based in Ridgecrest, California, USA. She will speak about meditation with the focus on its practice and relevance in the USA.
You all see me and see the slides?
We can.
Okay. Some reason I stopped seeing you all. So, first of all, I want to thank the Center for Meditation Research and UNESCO for giving me this opportunity. So my topic is meditation, the US experience. So as you know, are you seeing a change in the slides by any chance, or are you seeing the same slide?
We do the changes.
Okay, good. So my name is Dr. Iresha Gunasinghe. I am a cardiologist, and like a lot of us in the US, we wear a lot of hats. I'm involved in a non-for-profit organization and several professional organizations. So today I thought of dividing our conversation into three parts. Why a lot of folks in the United States are now interested in meditation, the common methods that are used in the US, and then, in my opinion, especially for folks who have just thinking about starting meditation, a few personal practical steps that have helped me. As you know, the United States is a multi-religious, multicultural society, but there is one thing that is common to practically everyone in the US. And that is, even if you are a very rich, powerful CEO of a large corporation, a single mother who's trying so hard to help her kids and work 3 jobs and come home exhausted, or a homeless person, which we have quite a few now, unfortunately, in the US, or a child, a teenager who's exposed to a lot of peer pressure, a physician who's overwhelmed with the demands and then trying to take care of their patients, someone who's addicted and is trying hard to overcome the difficulties that brings with addiction, that we see with addiction. All these people have one thing in common. They are all super stressed. So practically, a lot of us in the US are super stressed. And our minds are like stormy oceans. And this causes a lot of problems to us, and we are struggling to find solutions because we ourselves are feeling the impact of this stormy ocean-like mind. And one of the biggest problems as a medical doctor, we know, and from the research, is that as we get stressed, the frontal lobe, the part in front of the brain, is where all the problem-solving capabilities and also ethical decisions are made. And that starts shutting down as we become stressed. Practically every organ known to mankind, everything we have starts suffering, leading to premature death. And not only that, and now the research is showing that if we are stressed, it is intergenerational. It gets passed from grandmother to mother to daughter. So it has a huge long-term impact. And as a solution, what we found is that meditation is a very effective solution for a lot of these. And the best part is that it's free. So because of that, a lot of us in the United States, for different reasons, are trying to use meditation as a tool to overcome the problems that I just mentioned. So in the United States, we do see quite a lot of different methods. Let's talk about that next. And again, all these methods we are yearning for is to get our mind, which is like a stormy ocean, like into a calm lake. This is what we are striving to do. And as the previous speaker spoke about the different parts of the world, we too have mindful meditation, breath meditation, vipassana meditation, which is insight meditation. But in the United States, we don't have a lot of loving kindness meditation. At least I haven't seen it. And also, as a practicing doctor, I've been here close to 30 odd years. I see that a lot of the folks here do not comprehend the concept of self-care and loving kind meditation towards ourselves. And this is something that I really think a lot of us would benefit here, because without learning the art of loving yourself, it's hard to love others and take care of others. And that concept is rather lacking in the United States. At least that's been my experience. And then, of course, we have different kinds of chanting, yoga, TM, which is very popular in the East Coast and the West Coast. And now we are seeing a lot of prayer that they are also beginning to incorporate meditation, which I think is a very good thing. So these are the common methods that we see in the United States. In the few minutes that I have left, to me, the most important thing that I wanted to share with you are some practical steps, especially if there are folks there who are thinking about starting a meditation practice themselves. And remember, what we are trying to do is get our mind, which is like a stormy ocean, back into a calm pace, like a calm lake. So practical tip number one, as I mentioned at the beginning, we wear a lot of hats, professional, family, etc. So if you are exhausted and you are sleep deprived, before you meditate, you need to catch up with your sleep. Especially as physicians, this is very important. Please don't try to do meditation when you are exhausted. Get some sleep, especially if you are sleep deprived. If you're hungry, you need to eat before you meditate, but not large quantities, and vegetarian is much better. Stay well hydrated, that's important. And then if you have 2,000 deadlines, I have personally noted that it's important to create some kind of a plan before you start your meditation practice. But sometimes it truly helps to take a break. And for that break, meditation is a great tool to calm ourselves down and recenter ourselves before we continue our work. And the other thing, I was going to spend a little bit of time, but I think I'm not going to do that now. But basically, if you have a lot of inputs coming at you, the brain has to process it faster and faster. But if you let go of those inputs, that itself helps to calm you down and help you in your meditation practice. And the best example I can share with you is if you go to the beach, especially in Sri Lanka or someplace like that, or go to a lake somewhere, and just the mere fact that there isn't a lot of surround sound helps to calm you down. So reducing your inputs is a very healthy habit. And finally, my favorite tip, which I share whenever I get an opportunity, especially for folks like us who have a lot of commitments and a lot of interactions that end up causing a lot of sadness, frustration, anger, etc., negative emotions. It's a very useful thing to start journaling. And what you do is you write down all your I'm so sorry about that noise. So all your emotions and the frustrations on a piece of paper and shred it. Do not keep it, do not read it, definitely do not share it. And it helps to calm you down so that you are in a better frame of mind to meditate. Finally, I intentionally put this because some of us have this weird image that you have to be in an exotic place to meditate. You don't. Your bedroom is fine, but it has to be safe. It has to be quiet. Ideally, it needs to be clutter-free. And of course, it needs to be comfortable. And then again, especially in our part of the world, in the United States, a lot of people can't sit cross-legged. And it is not a requirement to meditate. Sit comfortably, be comfortable. But what's important is to calm your mind using one of those techniques. And then after you achieved all those physical things that I mentioned, then and then only will you be able to sit down and do a proper meditation. So as our mind, which is like a stormy ocean, becomes calm like a lake, our frontal lobes will start acting up again. Thereby, we'll be able to solve problems, think outside the box, and then also live a more ethical life because we are not stressed. And our bodies will start healing again. And therefore, my hope is that we'll be able to love each other, understand each other, and as we as a society and a community grows, we will be able to make a difference in the whole world. And that is my sincere hope, because I truly believe, and I from all the previous speakers, I know we as a community here do believe that world peace begins with peace in our own hearts. Because if we have peace in our heart, well, that's the beginning of world peace. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And also, if you ever need to communicate with me, this is a great email, joy@ahelpinghand.org. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Resha Gunasinghe, for emphasizing on healing oneself first before healing others. Now it is time for a practical meditation session. With great reverence, I would like to invite Venerable Panadure Chandraratna Thero, who is the Deputy Abbot of the Nissarana Vane Forest Monastery, Meethirigala, Sri Lanka. He will lead a guided meditation session by sharing his experiences of meditation in the Sri Lankan context.
Thanks for the opportunity, and currently I am experiencing some rain and hope you can hear that as well. We can include that also to our practice, and so before we begin, we can sit in a comfortable position, calm down ourselves, and as Dr. Iresha pointed out, it's not compulsory to sit cross-legged, but if you are comfortable in your sitting posture, you can adjust it so that you are feeling more comfortable. Feeling your head straight, neck straight, shoulders in a relaxed position, arms may be resting. And if you are sitting on a chair, you can lean onto it and you feel more comfortable and relaxed. And actually spending few minutes adjusting our posture would be quite helpful, because otherwise time to time we have to change the posture that might disturb the meditation, particularly at the beginning. So once you feel comfortable and once you recognize that the posture is well adjusted and you can sit there for a while without changing it, now let's close our eyes. So basically all these meditation instructions are utterly simple. So it is not complicated, even though it might give very sophisticated results as we already are known to it. But anyway, the practice taking us or bringing us to pure simplicity. So you can simply close your eyes, and once you close your eyes, probably you feel a little bit solitude and you are somewhat cut off from the world and you are with yourself and giving more emphasis to yourself. And again, less distractions. So probably you can hear my voice and you don't need to watch the screen if you need. So you can simply listen to my voice, calm down yourself, relax yourself, gently close your eyes. So this is a rare opportunity that we all are getting. I know that most of you are fairly busy. As Dr. Iresha pointed out, we are stressed up with so many other responsibilities, so many activities. But now it is a chance even for us to relax ourselves, to release all the stresses. Calm down yourself. Don't consider meditation as a kind of a burden or as a punishment, but it is something, a golden opportunity given us to enjoy ourselves, to explore ourselves, to know ourselves. Okay, now you can take a deep breath, hold it for a while, slowly release. Come back to yourself. So there might be various sounds happening. Even now I can hear some rain, but it is a mere sound. We don't need to get irritated by the sound. It's a mere sound. Again and again, come back to yourself. Establish mindfulness within the body. So we are using this sitting posture as an anchor to our wandering mind. A very simple practice. We are starting with a very simple basic practice. We are sitting and we know that we are sitting. And we know that we are not standing, not lying down, not walking, but we are sitting. This sitting posture, a comfortable, ordinary sitting posture. Again and again, coming back to this sitting posture. So there may be a little boredom involved with the sitting posture because it is quite familiar and it is not exciting. But we need to slowly adjust to this boredom. Let's recognize this sitting posture, how the body is positioned. Head straight, neck straight, shoulders are relaxed. You are not holding them purposely, effortfully. Rather, they are relaxed. And your arms are resting. And basically, there is no any tension in your arms. And upper half of the body straight but not rigid. And again, when we are establishing mindfulness within the body, more and more subtle sensations become known to us. So let's try to get closer to our body, closely examine some subtle sensations. Since we all are closing our eyes, probably you may be able to recognize a subtle sensation at your eyelids. Eyes are gently closed and there's a very soft, subtle sensation at your eyes. Again, lips are gently touching. There is a soft sensation there as well. And jaws are not tightly coupled. So if your jaws are tightly coupled, just release them. You don't need to keep them quite tight or coupled. Just release them. Again, keep your tongue at its root. Don't make any effort through it. Don't thrust against the thumbs. So basically, keep it at its root. And overall, in the face, there can't be any tension. So right now, we are trying to enjoy the present moment. So we appreciate this opportunity. And you can maintain a slight smile. It appears like we are artificially smiling, but slowly, as our hindrances weaken, we may turn it into a natural smile. Now you can take a deep breath, hold it for a while, slowly release. Calm down yourself. There is nothing much to do. It's not a burden to you. It's a kind of being with yourself, giving an opportunity to yourself. Suppose that you have certain regrets and certain self-accusations, or you feel that you are not positive, just forgive yourself. And there may be certain difficulties, certain mishaps, misperfections, but just forgive yourself. Be compassionate to yourself. Because right now we are trying to correct ourselves. We are giving enough time to ourselves so that we can heal ourselves. Again, take a deep breath. Hold it for a while. Slowly release. If your mind wanders, suppose it is wandering towards the past, don't worry about it. Slowly bring it back. Be with the body. If there are any thoughts related to the future, any plans, any hopes, don't enjoy them, don't entertain them, encourage them. Bring the attention back to the body. Body appears like an anchor, again and again establishing within the body. Now, as you are further closely connected with the body, probably you can recognize how clothes are touching the body. We all are wearing clothes, and here and there, some clothes are touching the body. Try to recognize. At certain places, it may be tight. At certain other places, it may be a little rubbing kind of a sensation. And you might even feel little discomfort and maybe a little weight. All those sensations you can recognize. Those are because of the clothes. So slowly, very much like you are examining the body, like being at the center of the body. So as you are settling further, probably you can recognize some natural bodily processes. So the body is breathing. And according to the breathing, the abdomen comes forward, rising, and again it is coming back, falling. The abdominal movement, rising and falling, also happens. And again, sometimes probably you can recognize the heart vibration and maybe certain aches and pains within the body. All are actually indicators telling us that we are mindful. Our attention is in the present moment. We are not daydreaming or fantasizing. We are not in an imagination. Rather, we are in the present world, in the present moment. We are with ourselves. Calm down yourself. Relax yourself. So if we pay attention to this rising and falling for a while, as we breathing in, the abdomen comes forward, rising. And as we breathe out, it comes back, falling. If you want, you can mentally note it. When you are experiencing rising, you can mentally note it as rising. When you are experiencing falling, you can mentally note it as falling. Rising, falling. Keep it very simple. It's not a burden to the mind. It's not heavy to the mind. Very, very simple. We are keeping our attention at the abdomen and trying to be aware of each rising, each falling. Calm down yourself. Relax yourself. Be aware of each rising, each falling. As we are more and more familiar with it, our body relaxes, and again the mind relaxes. And let's move a little down. Probably you can recognize how you are leaning onto a chair and what are the sensations available there, and how your buttocks touching the cushion. Maybe certain thrust, maybe pressure or weight concentrated at your buttocks. Legs are bent. Probably your foot touching the ground. Legs muscles are relaxed. So we are further recognizing this sitting posture. Again and again settling into the moment. So let's move up. Our legs are bent. Legs muscles are relaxed. Buttocks touching the cushion. Certain pressure is built up there. You can feel the body weight at your buttocks. Upper half of the body straight. Arms are resting. Abdominal movement happen in a more relaxed manner. Rising, falling of the abdomen. As he further moves up, we can recognize maybe the heart vibration. Clothes are also touching the body. Here and there you can recognize little tightness, maybe some rubbing sensation. Upper half of the body straight. Shoulders are relaxed. Neck straight. Head straight. Eyes are gently closed. Lips are touching. Now let's keep our attention at the nostril. So it's a maintenance. We are guarding at our nostril. So while we are maintaining our attention there, try to recognize each in-breath, each out-breath. So allow the body to breathe naturally. Don't try to control it. Don't try to force it. Settle yourself. Let it happen. Let the body breathe naturally. And try to enjoy each in-breath, each out-breath. Kind of wholeheartedly you are knowing each in-breath, each out-breath. So basically, we are calming down ourselves, relaxing ourselves, and again trying to know each in breath, each out breath. So there's a little task assigned to the mind. We are not allowing it to sleep, rather keeping it active. Again and again, we have to apply our mind to each in breath, to each out breath. We are not allowing it to fall asleep, keeping it active, vigilant, and we are knowing each in breath, each out breath. Here also, if you want, you can mentally note. When you know in breath, you can mentally note it as in. When you know out breath, you can note it as out. In, out. Enjoying each in breath, enjoying each out breath. Relaxing yourself, but still paying some close attention to each in breath, each out breath. So once you are confident, and again you know that you can maintain the pace, probably you can start closely examining this breathing process. You're putting some close examination, careful attention. From which nostril the in-breath going in? From which nostril the out-breath going out? We are very much like examining, closely examining. Am I able to recognize some touching point of the in-breath? Am I able to recognize the touching point of the out-breath? Am I feeling in-breath compared to the out-breath as warm or cool? Am I experiencing the out-breath compared to the in-breath as warm or cool? Am I breathing shortly or with long? Am I experiencing the beginning, middle, or the end of the in-breath? Or is there a gap between in-breath and out-breath? Am I experiencing the beginning, the middle, the end of the out-breath? Or the gap between out-breath and in-breath? A close examination. A relaxed but close examination. If your mind wanders, don't worry about it. Slowly bring it back and establish mindfulness onto the breath. Forgive yourself and be happy. Happily know the whole process. Joyfully know the whole process. So let me share a few thoughts with you. So basically, we are trying to establish mindfulness, and we have used several techniques. One thing is that we have used our posture. That is one method we can easily maintain, easily use. And then we have used the rising and falling of the abdomen. And again, once we are little familiar, slowly we have settled to the body. And again, we have used the kind of a body scanning technique, so that slowly we are adhering ourselves, calming down ourselves, relaxing ourselves to the body. And later, gradually, we kept our attention at the breathing. So basically, immediately, rather than trying to do a breath meditation, that would be easier for us to stepwise calm down ourselves, use some large area to focus, and then slowly calm down, relax, focus, allowing the mind to calm, relax, and then gradually paying attention to breathing. And while breathing also, so we need to keep it very simple, very natural, not forcing it, rather allowing it to naturally breathe and then keeping our attention there. So the techniques are extremely simple, but our minds naturally do not appreciate the simplicity. It always wants some complex and very complicated situations, and trying even to complicate the things, even though sometimes things are simple, minds are tend to complicate things. But here we are trying to do the opposite. While mind is asking to complicate the thing, we are trying to simplify the thing. Again and again, bringing some attention to the body, which is calm, relaxed, sitting. It is not moving. We don't have to do much. And again, the breathing also happening naturally. We don't need to do anything related to the breathing. So calming down ourselves. So making the mind more comfortable and releasing the stress. We don't need to stressed out. Then naturally the breathing happen, and we are calm, relaxed, and trying to be aligned with the breathing. And now once our eyes are closed, we become more simplified, less distractions, paying full attention to ourselves, and then being with this little boredom. We might feel bored because no excitement, but we are slowly adjusting ourselves to this, knowing each and every breath. Now, another important thing is we are not allowing the mind to fall asleep, because naturally, if we are coming through some hectic day, probably the body, as it settles, the mind fall asleep. But as Dr. Iresha pointed out, it's necessary to relax the body and sleep, take a good sleep. But here now, we are not trying to let it sleep, rather keep the mind awake within a very subtle process. So the breathing is a very subtle process, and we are keeping very refined attention to each and every breath. So the situation is very much like calm, relaxed, quiet, but quite attentive. Not sleeping, not lethargic, but quite attentive. So this attentive awareness with a very gentle, calm attitude help us to develop ourselves, calm down ourselves while developing wisdom. So as you know, in the Vipassana meditation, basically we need to have a fairly quiet mind, not a proliferating mind, but a quiet mind. And with such a quiet mind, we are trying to examine, to investigate various phenomena. So I'd like to conclude today, actually my session, since I have taken a few minutes, and I wish you all have a good day and have a nice practice in the future. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Many merits to you, Venerable Thero, for giving us a profound experience through meditation. We are honored and privileged to have been guided by you. It is now time for a break, so during which you are invited to view a video featuring 7 research studies conducted by PhD students on the impact of meditation, which is an initiative led by Center for Meditation Research. So we will take a short break till 11:45 and join with us back again for the Q&A session.
Ayubowan. Welcome to the presentation of research findings of a project conducted by the Center for Meditation Research, University of Colombo. This was a multidisciplinary project funded by the World Bank. Through this project, we wanted to find out the effect of meditation and mindfulness on health and well-being. We had the participation of researchers from Faculty of Medicine, Faculty of Science, Institute of Biochemistry, Molecular Biology and Biotechnology, Faculty of Arts, and Faculty of Education. So altogether, we had 26 researchers joining to find out the effect of meditation from genetics to behavior. So we had 5 major components. Through these components, we looked at the effect on genetics, immunology and neurochemicals, cardiorespiratory functions, neurophysiology, endocrine and metabolic functions, gastroenterology, psychological health, and into education, environment, and sociology. The project was coordinated by the Research Promotion and Facilitation Center of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. We had 2 phases in the project, and the phase 1 was a comparative study during which we retrospectively looked at different parameters of a carefully recruited meditators and a carefully matched control. So these meditators were recruited by a tool developed by our research team. So to develop this tool, we looked at existing literature, focus group discussions, Delphis, to ensure that we are recruiting the ideal participants for the project. So we recruited 30 skilled meditators and carefully one-on-one matched control group. So after comparing all the parameters under the major components, we developed protocols, intervention protocols for patient groups as well as for community. Now you'll be hearing from the researchers from all these components regarding their background, objectives, and the research findings.
Hello, I'm Nirodhi Dasanayaka, and my research is about the effects of meditation on telomere dynamics. I am conducting my research under the supervision of Professor Nilakshi Samranayaka and Professor Nirmala Sirisena. Meditation produces emotionally calm and stable mind, relaxation and tranquility by training attention. Telomeres are protective end caps of chromosomes, which are the key biomarkers of cellular aging. It has been suggested that meditation affects telomere regulation. Let's see. We recruited 30 long-term meditators along with 8 gender and educational level matched non-meditators. Using the collected blood, telomere length, plasma telomerase level, and the expression of TERT and TERP genes were measured. We found significantly long telomere lengths, significantly higher plasma telomerase levels, significantly upregulated TERT and TERP genes in meditators compared to non-meditators. Further, we found TERT and TERP genes significantly predicted the plasma telomerase level. So, long-term meditation practice has beneficial effects on telomere regulation with potential to delay cellular aging.
Hi, the objective of this study was to assess selected immunological, hormonal and biochemical parameters of stress response in a Sri Lankan group of experienced Buddhist meditators compared to age, gender and educational level matched non-meditators. We subdivided into 3 objectives, that was looking at the immunological parameters, hormonal parameters and the neurotransmitters. Under immunological parameters, we found out that antioxidant capacity, superoxide dismutase, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase was significantly higher in the meditating group, which indicates that meditation decreases oxidative stress. We also found out that nitric oxide, inducible nitric oxide synthase, and NF-kappa B was significantly lower in the meditating group, which further proves that meditation decreases oxidative stress, and also which in turn decreases neurological disorders and slows down aging and reduce cardiovascular diseases. Under hormonal parameters, we found out that meditation increased serotonin and melatonin significantly, while it reduced adrenaline and cortisol significantly. We also found out under biochemical parameters that GABA was increased and glutamate was decreased significantly by meditation, which proves that meditation plays a role in the regulation of anxiety. We also saw that it increased dopamine significantly. To summarize, the higher catalase, glutathione peroxidase, superoxide dismutase production levels, and the significantly lower nitric oxide levels, also the significantly higher serotonin, melatonin, dopamine, and GABA levels, and the significantly lower cortisol, adrenaline, and glutamate levels in the meditation or the meditator group indicates to us that meditation plays a significant role in lowering the oxidative stress, enhancing immune response, enhancing mental health, and providing a better sleep. Thank you.
I'm Udani from Activity 2.2. So let me take you through my study. So starting with the background, physiological parameters are thought to improve with regular meditation practice. But there's a paucity of data on cardiorespiratory and autonomic function changes with long-term practice of meditation. Hence, in this study, we aim to describe selected cardiorespiratory and autonomic function parameters in healthy long-term meditators compared to a group of age-sex matched healthy non-meditators. So to achieve this, we conducted a cross-sectional comparative study involving 30 healthy long-term meditators and 30 non-meditators. And to assess the cardiorespiratory function of our study participants, we recorded resting cardiorespiratory parameters, resting spirometry, and maximal breath holding time. And to assess the autonomic function, we performed the cardiovascular reflex testing and we recorded their resting heart rate variability parameters. Looking at the results of the cardiorespiratory component, we observed that long-term meditators had lower resting respiratory rate, resting heart rate, resting blood pressure, and higher peak expiratory flow rate with higher inspiratory breath holding time. And in regards to autonomic function results, long-term meditators had lower diastolic blood pressure increase in response to isometric hand grip, higher Valsalva ratio, and higher resting heart rate variability compared to their non-meditators. So in summary, long-term meditators appear to have better cardiorespiratory and autonomic function compared to their matched non-meditators. And long-term regular practice of meditation appear to shift the sympathovagal balance at rest more towards the parasympathetic dominance in these healthy long-term meditators. Thank you.
Good morning. So I'm Dr. Kumarangi Vithanage. I'm a senior lecturer and a consultant neurologist. My component of the research was to study the effect of meditation on selected neurophysiological parameters and to assess effect of meditation on selected clinical outcomes of Parkinson's disease and epilepsy. So my supervisors are Professor Dishan Sanaka and Professor Thershi Chang. So initially, I looked at 5 neurophysiological parameters between the two groups of long-term meditators and meditation naive controls, where I looked at cognition, electroencephalography, visual evoked potentials, and the nerve conduction parameters, where it clearly showed that the beneficial outcomes, particularly in terms of cognition and visual processing, peripheral nerve conduction, was clearly far better among the long-term meditators compared to the meditation naive controls. Then I used this data and implemented a therapeutic protocol of meditation on 2 clinical groups of Parkinson's disease and epilepsy. So in Parkinson's, I looked at some of the motor as well as non-motor components, where again it clearly showed that the interventional group of the Parkinson's, the outcome was better compared to the control group, which did not have intervention, but they continued with their usual care. Considering the epilepsy group, similarly, there was positive outcomes in terms of seizure frequency in the interventional arm compared to the a control group who received only their usual care. Thank you.
I am Dr. Dad Badaghu, and our team looked at the effects of meditation on metabolic health. These studies were supervised by Professor Priyadashini Galapatti, Professor Prasad Kadulanda, and Professor Saroj Jaisingh from the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, funded by the AHEAD grant of the World Bank. Diabetes is a global problem and it is ever growing, and the management of diabetes is should be done comprehensively. Psychological stress management, behavioral pattern, physical parameters all have a very important role to play. Looking at how meditation practices could impact the management of diabetes, there is a lot of evidence to say that it modulates the neurohumoral mechanisms through stress response management, which is beneficial in diabetes. And of course, there's improvement of overall coping ability and favorable impact on behavior as well. First, we looked at the available risk literature through a systematic review and meta-analysis where effects of mindfulness-based meditation on glycemic control in type 2 diabetes mellitus was looked at. And majority of the clinical trials conducted showed a significant benefit through HbA1c reduction. Our clinical trial looked at the patients with type 2 diabetes mellitus and we randomized into intervention and wait-listed down. Our objective was to look at the effect on the glycemic control as well as look into some of the physiological parameters which are underlying, which are causing these beneficial effects. The intervention arm underwent weekly sessions of mindfulness meditation program for a period of 12 weeks, and all these study outcomes were looked at the beginning and after the period of meditation. Currently, we are analyzing the data and we hope to contribute to the ever-growing body of evidence.
Hi everyone, I'm Omela Utskon describing to you about our study on meditation and psychological health. This is our research team, me and my supervisors Dr. Santoshi Amarasuriya and Dr. Jeevani Herath from the Colombo University. Meditation. Well, we all have heard that meditation helps psychological well-being, isn't it? So through our study, we wanted to scientifically explore deeper into this. In order to do so, we first and foremost wanted to understand the possible differences between those who meditate and those who do not in terms of the number of parameters which are key to psychology. So these parameters were levels of mindfulness, psychological resilience, perceived quality of life, and psychological distress, all of which were recorded through relevant questionnaires filled by our participants who were skilled meditators and also their age, gender, and education matched non-meditating controls chosen through meticulous criteria. We conducted cross-sectional and correlational analysis on the collected data, and we could see that skilled meditators showed significantly higher levels of mindfulness, psychological resilience, and perceived quality of life, while showing significantly lower levels of psychological distress compared to their non-meditating counterparts. From our correlational analysis, we saw that the number of years of meditation practice and the number of meditation hours per week is significantly and positively correlated with the mindfulness skill of non-reactivity, and that the number of meditation hours per week was significantly and positively correlated with the mindfulness skill of observation. While this part of our study doesn't really talk about a cause and effect relationship, our results hint of the beneficial nature of a lifestyle which allows space for meditation, which, well, is something really worth considering during these trying times.
I will talk about meditation and meditation. First, the impact of meditation on teacher immunity to work with stresses. Our PhD student was Ms. Kaushalya Pereira, advised by Dr. Santhu Silva and myself. Teacher immunity is a theoretical construct that increases self-efficacy, burnout, resilience, attitude to teaching, openness to change, classroom effectivity, and creativity. It also provides insight into how teachers survive despite experiences of emotional upheaval and psychological well-being. So we posed the question to 5 teachers and did the narrative analysis. This was the question: how do teachers that meditate perceive the impact of their regular practice of meditation on their response to stresses at work? These were the findings. Those who meditate perceived that they had improved responsibilities and that they treat their students with sympathy and loving kindness. Some of them have guided their students to do meditation, and they have seen a behavioral change in these students. This they believe led to a better classroom learning. In terms of effectivity, the participants perceived that meditation improved their emotional regulation. More specifically, we believe that meditation helped them to identify solutions where conflicts may arise and regulate one's behavior to avoid conflicts. They also perceive themselves to be able to face stressful events at work with equanimity and tolerance due to the practice of meditation. Problem-focused coping strategies. Additionally, the participants responded to stressful events at work through problem-focused coping strategies, such as defining the problem, weighing alternatives in terms of their cost and benefits, and taking suitable remedial action. Moreover, they perceive the regular practice of mindfulness meditation helped them to be resilient in the face of stressful events at work. Also, they believed that being resilient increases their teaching self-efficacy. They also believed that being resilient will make them concentrate more on their work despite encounters with stressful situations. So finally, we can conclude that regular practice of meditation has the potential to help teachers to respond to workplace stresses in ways that would benefit their psychological well-being. Thank you.
In a world often characterized by hustle and bustle, meditation offers us a sanctuary to reconnect with the natural world. Today, I'm excited to share insights from my PhD study on the role of meditation in shaping environmental attitudes, behavior, and perceived quality of life. I'm Sandhini Somaratna, representing Center for Meditation Research, and my PhD research work is supervised by Professor Arandhati Lokapitiya from Faculty of Science, University of Colombo, and Professor Vasantha Gunatunga from Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo.
Meditation isn't just about finding inner peace, it's increasingly recognized as a powerful tool for societal change.
By grounding ourselves in the present moment through practicing meditation, we can cultivate a deeper connection with nature and a greater sense of responsibility towards our planet. In our study, firstly, we explored the relationship between meditation experience and environmental attitudes and behaviors, and as well as perceived quality of life among skilled meditators. We carefully selected a sample of skilled meditators and examined their meditation experience alongside their environmental attitudes, behaviors, and perceived quality of life. Our analysis revealed significant correlations. As meditation experience increased, so did the individual's attitudinal connection with nature and their perceived quality of life. Additionally, we observed a promising trend. Higher levels of mindfulness were associated with reduced per head carbon footprint. The insights gleaned from our study underscore the potential of meditation as a catalyst for positive change. By fostering a deeper awareness of our connectedness with the nature, meditation has the power to inspire meaningful action towards a more sustainable future. Building on these insights, we embarked on a journey to translate research into action through the development of an intervention called Cultivating Green Lifestyle. It is an environmental awareness program which has been combined with structured and guided meditation sessions. Through the CGL, we aim to empower participants to embrace a greener lifestyle, thereby enhancing both environmental consciousness and overall well-being. We anticipate that this intervention will not only foster a culture of environmental responsibility within our organization, but also contribute to employees' sense of fulfillment and happiness. As we conclude, I invite each of you to consider the role of meditation in your own life and how it can contribute to a more sustainable future. Whether through personal practice or collective initiatives, we all have the power to make difference in our environment through practicing meditation. Thank you and have a great day.
Good day to all of you. Our component of the research project tried to make a connection between meditation and how it would contribute to social harmony. Myself, Iresha Lakshman, and Professor Vasantha Gunatunga supervised this project, which was planned and carried out by our student, Ms. Bhagya Malini. The extensive review of literature conducted revealed some noteworthy connections between meditation and social harmony. It was revealed that meditation improves social connectedness, attitude of equanimity, and altruism, while reducing tendencies towards racial bias and violent behaviors. In turn, this has the capacity to improve social harmony, which is essential for peaceful coexistence. Based on these prior findings, Ms. Bhagya developed a questionnaire that could be used as a tool for measuring individuals' level of social harmony. The questionnaire contained statements on effective communication, mutual respect, conflict resolution, community engagement, forbearance, provocation, contribution to environment wellness, care and concern for others, inner harmony, relationship harmony. Ms. Bhagya is currently engaged in validating this tool. Thank you very much.
Welcome back to the live session. In addition to the speakers, we are honored to have additional distinguished speakers joining us in this Q&A session, which is to happen now. I cordially invite Emeritus Professor Saroj Jayasinghe and Professor Dilshani Disanayake to chair this session.
Thank you very much. Professor Dilshani, you'll be introducing the speakers.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you all for those excellent words of wisdom and sharing your information regarding the practices in your country, your perceptions, and also suggesting a way forward. So we will discuss all your suggestions and perceptions, and we'll answer the questions that were put forward. And we have another eminent meditation trainer. I think two are joining. Venerable Luan Po Kemadammo, OBE, the Abbot, the Forest Hermitage from UK, joining with us. Many merits for joining. And we have Mr. Chi Bok Chui, who has been practicing meditation for a long time in Malaysia. He's also joining with us today. With those two speakers joining now, we have all our guest speakers also with us today. And also, if you have any questions related to the research conducted by the CMR, I'm also very happy to answer the questions. So you can post your questions on chat, or you can raise your hand and unmute the mic and ask the questions. Over to you, Professor Saroj, to start the discussion.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can we have Venerable Luang Po, please? So just to, we will have two short presentations, and then the panel will be available to ask questions. For logistic reasons, we prefer the chat box because unmuting might be a problem. So we hope you will all be able to help us in that. Thank you.
I think what Professor suggested was for us to start with a brief description about your perception and what you practice in relation to the two new speakers who joined with us. So we can start with Venerable Luan Po Kemadammo. Venerable Sir, if you can share your experiences and your insights within a few minutes, then we can start the panel discussion. Until Venerable Thero joins with us, we can invite Mr. Chi Bok Chui, if you're okay to share your experiences with us.
Yes. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Now, I just want to share some experiences throughout my path of practice and teaching meditation for the past 40 years. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to join you all, and I thank you all very much for organizing this. Now, the meditation and its global impact starts with the individual. Okay? And then it goes to groups, then it goes to the country and go worldwide. Okay, now, mental peace and medical benefits of meditation is the greatest benefit to any practitioner. For example, I have many students who practice meditation before they get cancer or some other disease or some other ailment. Now, most of them that have got cancer join me before they have any symptoms. So they have got skill in meditation. So when the cancer attacks them, they can accept it. They know what is suffering, and then after medication and all that, they use meditation to calm themselves instead of getting agitated, worried, angry, and why it's me. So what happens is that they continue to learn meditation and practice meditation, they got the skill and knowledge to overcome. They understand and reduce their mental suffering, physical suffering, and some haven't lived more than 20 or 30 years after treatment. So we can help this group of people through meditation worldwide. it would definitely reduce the mental and physical suffering globally. Okay. On the other hand, there are some elderly people who have never learned and practiced meditation. When they suffer some ailment such as stroke, cancer, they come and try to learn meditation. They find that they have no skill to do concentration and mindfulness, and the ailment and the suffering is a hindrance to them. So they struggle more often than not. They give up. So these are the people we should try to target and help, and stress to them that they should start meditation early and not wait until a very old age. Now, loving kindness, meditation should be practiced to maintain harmony and peace in the whole world. So if this can be propagated and practiced, the impact of this will be tremendous. During COVID-19, it was a blessing in disguise that we can do this online. And then this brings more people from around the world to participate rather than physical class. Only those people in the country or in the surrounding areas they can have a chance. So during COVID, when I was conducting online classes, I get participants from India, Germany, South America, and to have a chance to learn meditation. So when these persons, mostly in Malaysia, have a chance to learn meditation with a few students from other countries like Australia, India joining us. So only it's a very limited scope. So if there is a meditation online, then we have a wider scope and it can have a better global effect. And this will help to maintain peace and also to help them if they have any ailment or cancer or stroke or whatever, or stress, to calm down. This will help them to reduce the dependence on medication, which is, I think now, the cost of medicine is quite tremendously high. So therefore, this meditation can impact the world by means of getting these people to come down, understand, help them to reduce their stress. Sometimes the stress and the fear of the cancer itself is causing them more disturbance than the cancer itself, than the ailment itself. So for this, meditation has helped them a lot. So I hope that the other people around the world who are doing this, I salute to them, and we can continue to help these people and make the world a better place for peace and happiness to the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chi Boktree. I fully agree with you. The place of meditation for holistic well-being, because we are also researching onto the effect of meditation in relation to diseases and body functions. And we have observed significant changes in the body, positive changes, which can contribute to well-being.
Thank you for your great help and your great work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have Venerable Luopon Kema Damo with us today, who has worked with several different communities and been a meditation practitioner for a long time, and we are honored to have you with us. I hope you could share some of your experiences before we start answering the questions.
Yes, well, I feel rather out of place in a discussion like this because I've never had any interest in the research into meditation. I practice, and the people I teach, I think, practice because of an interest in dealing with suffering. I'm a Buddhist, and so I take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and it became very apparent to me early on when I first took an interest in Buddhism that to investigate one's mind and train one's mind was the only reasonable way in which one might be able to deal with the cause of one's difficulties and discover the nature of the true nature of one's existence. And so I've never had the slightest, in fact, I rather have fought shy of any kind of research or analysis of meditation practice, because the danger is that the persons involved will then be evaluating their practice in the wrong way, and be practicing in order to gain or obtain something of a worldly nature, in fact. And we need to be able to give that up. So I've not. I'm a bit of an interloper here, really. I'm not terribly sympathetic to this sort of thing. And meditation, for me, there are various forms of meditation, a lot of different stuff going on here in the UK, and most of it, to my mind, apart from the practice of Buddhism, fairly purposeless, being done because it makes people feel a bit better, or really being done for various kinds of pleasure, rather than to train one's mind and make oneself free of one's suffering. So for me, meditation practice is an important part of the path to nirvana.
Thank you very much, Venerable Sir, for that very insightful comment. I think it's something which we've got to consider in whatever we do, and this tension between the research and promoting meditation versus the reasons we want to promote meditation. Is it with certain spiritual benefits, or are we going to limit to some of the some of the selfish benefits of the person? So with those introductions, can we there are two questions which have come up so far in the chat box. One is in relation to using meditation in correctional centers, and the other one basically about the university system and students under stress who may need meditation. Anyone in the panel who wish to answer those questions? Firstly, let's talk about the experiences in correctional centers.
This is Iresha from the US. I personally haven't had an experience, but there is a really nice TED talk where they talked about teaching Vipassana meditation to prisoners in Alabama. And there was a huge impact in a lot of those prisoners. All the parameters about how they became more peaceful, more accepting, more kind was demonstrated in a way that nobody expected it to be. So that is the only time that I have seen it. I personally haven't had any experience on it. But that TED Talk, I think it's titled Vipassana or something like that, is well worth looking into.
I know that Vipassana meditation is widely used in the correctional centers in India, and even in Sri Lanka there have been initiatives. So it will be nice to see if there are any people who have really got some experience in that aspect.
Yes, I've Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear.
Okay, shall we move on to the next question in relation to use of meditation in universities, so that it would be useful and help students who are stressed by the university system? I'm sure it has to extend even to the education system, not necessarily university system. So we can discuss that point. Any comments by the expert panel on the role of meditation in the education system?
Before we move on to that, Professor Haraj, Venerable Luanpo Kemadamo had done a lot of work with prisoners, and I think he's trying to share his experiences with us. So over to you, sir, Venerable Kemadamo.
Yes, I've been teaching Buddhism in the prisons in the UK for well, since 1977. I can't quite do the maths, so it's nearly 50 years, I suppose, 45. And clearly there is quite an interest in meditation. So but I can't say that I can give you any kind of facts about the results. You mentioned Vipassana. It's the Goenka system that's being taught on occasions in various jails, and with apparently some success. It's not been done here in Britain because the prison regimes here aren't really able to accommodate what they require. But we have now, after a great deal of effort, for the last 20 years, had in place a multi-faith chaplaincy in the prison service, and I'm the Buddhist advisor for all the prisons in England and Wales. The UK, as you know, is split up into 4 countries. So Scotland has a different approach, but I also am involved with Scottish prisons, although I don't visit because it's too far away now. But I do visit prisons here in this country, in England, and I have a team of around about 50, just over 50 Buddhist chaplains which serve in the prisons of England and Wales. So meditation is very much taught by us as part of Buddhist training.
Thank you so much, and many for
sharing. Can I say something?
Yes, yes.
You see, I have some experience in helping some students from pre-university until undergraduate, until they graduate, and until they work. Okay. Now, most of it is stress, too much homework, too much project work, and they cannot sleep, you see. The sleeping is their problem. So luckily for me, most of these students who come for help, they have come before the trouble starts. So I have an advantage in the sense that I can easily help them. If they come raw, when they get the stress or when they get this problem, I think it's going very difficult for me to help them. So what I teach them is how to sleep. Okay, if they are angry throughout the day, I ask them to do a loving kindness on metta bhavana first, and then they sleep. Then if they cannot sleep for some other reasons, I use a body scan. Okay, make them relax. The hair relax, the forehead relax, the eyes relax, the nose relax, until the toe. By the time they do it over 2 or 3 times, the feedback is that they can fall asleep. Or else I ask them to do rising, falling, or lie on the bed, and then you see rising, falling, and drag the rising, falling, falling. So make the mind calm, make the mind dull, and they sleep. So there is something that I have helped a few students, and even now when they are working, if they have that type of stress, they come and ask me, and I ask them to repeat what they have done. Then, not only that, they have dreams. So some of the dreams are very disturbing. So what do I do is ask them to do some merits about the dreams. Yeah? If they dream something that's very bad or what, then I ask them, oh, please do this, please do that, depending on what they dream. So that is my experiences in helping some students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have 3 questions in the chat box. I would like the panel to start reading those because one relates to the best meditation technique for heart patients, and the other one in relation to acting, brought by submitted by Prof. Soumya Lianage. That's a very interesting question, and I hope someone can take that on. In the meantime, I'll answer the easy question, and that's how do we avoid bias in some of the experiments which are done to assess the impact of meditation? Yes, I think that's something which is very relevant because it's a self-selected sample, but there are some studies which have used people who are not really been meditating for a long time, and meditation naive groups of people, and you divide them into different groups, and you randomize them, and you compare the efficacy of meditation with some other form of relaxation. So there are various ways which researchers try to overcome, but your point is well taken. There is a bias in those who wish to use meditation for health benefits and other benefits. So is there anyone who is now willing to answer the second query that's on the heart and the best meditation for heart patients? Dilshani?
I can. Oh, sorry.
Yes, Iresha is the cardiologist here with us. Yes, Iresha.
Yes. So, I meditate too. I started meditating when I was taught meditation, serious meditation, when I was only 9 years of age. So, one thing I have learned and I have used in my own practice is it depends on the person and what that person needs. So, like, for instance, if a person needs to sleep, or if they hate themselves, or they've never learned the art of loving themselves, or it could be that they are fearful. So it really, there is no one technique that fits all, at least in my practice. I get to know my patients really well, have long conversations with them, and then I will share something. And also, majority of my patients are non-Buddhist, so I do have to phrase it in a way they understand. But I do try to help them. For the last 20, 30 years, I've done that, and it is very helpful for them. But I do not use the word Buddhism if they are non-Buddhist, but I use the techniques like mostly samatha meditation.
Thank you, Iresha. Anyone who wishes to take on
Could I ask something?
Question, because he's a professional actor and he has to enact various emotions, and that's part of his job. And his question is, how could I explain this conundrum where he's required to experience certain complex emotions during his work, and while later on you have to use and control your emotions, or try not to be too entangled in your emotions.
Thank you very much, Saroj. I think Bhante Shravastri Dhammika Thero, would you like to share your inputs?
Yes, thank you. But just before I do that, I'd like to ask Mrs. Gunasinghe. You mentioned journalizing. Was that the term you used? Yes. I've never actually heard that before, used in the sense that you were referring to. Could you explain why you thought that that could be useful?
Yes, of course. I personally used it all my life. Again, the things that I all shared were things that I personally tried. What happens is, in Buddhist meditation, we talk about thought proliferation a lot. And what happens is when our mind starts thinking about a problem, it starts going round and round and round. Say, for instance, we are mad with someone, we'll start remembering things that they did 10 years ago and add that to our thing and then keep going round and round. What I found, and I've done this again in non-Buddhist patients, and they've all benefited from it, is that instead of it going round and round, you start putting it on paper. Like, it could be a mixture of English, Sinhalese, whatever, it doesn't matter, or you can type it. And what that does is it stops the proliferation. And also, if you have multiple problems, they start becoming, instead of this big blob, it starts separating it out. So if you keep consistently doing it for about 21 days, the problem itself tends to dissipate. Not that it did anything. And then it's a lot easier. Like even now I do it. It's a lot easier to meditate and attain, gain samadhi. So I use it even now because it's a way of resolving and sorting it out instead of letting it proliferate.
Good, thank you. Well, in the types of meditation, first of all, I don't teach meditation anymore. I've often found that people who teach meditation sometimes end up teaching so often that they don't get around to doing any. So, and I found that happening to myself. But the meditations that I have found can be very helpful to people who do have problems, but also for people who don't. Is the first one is the well-known and widely discussed one of mindfulness of breathing. The second one is metta meditation or loving kindness meditation. And I've often found, as I've sometimes heard it taught, the idea that when you're angry, try to stifle the anger by doing metta. And I've always found this to be, I think, psychologically very unsound. I tend to think that the best thing to do when you're angry is just hold on to your anger and let it slowly dissipate. And that if you use supposedly metta to try to stop it, then all you do is you disguise it and you fool yourself into thinking that, as I always used to say, may you be well and happy. The person is really just sort of disguising their anger. And I found personally also that the best time to do meditation, loving kindness meditation, is when you feel positive. And that can be, for example, you may be doing your ordinary practice and then suddenly or maybe gradually you feel elevated, your mood is elevated a little bit. And that against a background of positive feeling, when you do metta meditation, I think it sort of goes a bit deeper. And I've also found that, for example, if you're walking by the seaside or you're walking through the forest, and once again, because of the environment or whatever, the light coming through the trees or something like that, and your mood is elevated a little bit, you can just simply stand or sit somewhere conveniently. You don't have to get into a special posture or anything, and just do mindfulness, loving kindness meditation then, I think can be very, very helpful. And the last meditation that I find very helpful is, which I very rarely hear discussed, and that's the anusatis, the recollections. So I know in traditional Buddhism in Sri Lanka, the recollection on the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha is often just sort of chanting some Itipiso or something like that. But there are recollections like Silanusati, where you call to mind, remember, think about your own good deeds, your own virtues. My experience is that very sincere meditators quite often spend a lot of their time thinking about how bad they are, how many defilements they've got, which can be useful too, but a useful counterbalance to that so that you don't end up becoming overly critical is to think about your virtues. Another one is Kalyana Mittanusati, thinking about just every now and then, maybe at the end of a session of mindfulness of breathing, spending a few 5 minutes maybe, thinking about how fortunate you are not only to have good friends, could be members of your family or something, but the fact that you may be a good friend to somebody. And I think that this can be, once again, quite helpful for people. And occasionally, I think Marananusati also, thinking about your own mortality. Once again, I found this can be quite useful in dissipating negative feelings, especially ill will towards somebody else. That thinking about one day you won't be here, and really your irritation or your anger towards that person can become simply insignificant. So it seems to me that in at least in the early Buddhist tradition, you've got meditations that try to silence thoughts. That would be mindfulness of breathing, for example. There are meditations where you observe the process of thinking, the internal life, as it were. And then the meditations where you use thought, and they would be the recollections, the anusatis. And so you've got a wide range. And as for the healing meditations, I really do think that the most helpful is loving kindness meditation. I think it unties a lot of psychological knots over a period of time. But that has been my experience.
Thank you very much, Venerable Sir. We have two other questions on chat box, in the chat box. One relates to mindfulness eating and its benefits in relation to weight loss. And the other one is a question about possible detrimental effects of meditation in people who are suffering mental trauma or depression. Is there anyone who would like to answer that from the panel?
Okay, if there's nobody else.
Yes, Venerable Sir.
My experience of 20 years in Singapore is that I often came across people who had very minor psychological problems, and they got worse when they started meditating. And I come across cases where people didn't seem to have any psychological problems, and they started having them when they meditated. Now, I wouldn't say that this would be the majority, but I know maybe some traditional teachers. I've heard cases like this. That is, the person who's come to me with a problem as a result of meditating is that they had a problem with, say, sexual desire or something like that, and they went to a traditional monk and he said, you must do pilikul bhavana, think of all the revolting and disgusting things about yourself. I've come across cases where teachers emphasize very strongly, you've got to get up to stage 1 or stage 2, or you've been meditating for 6 months, how come you haven't attained the first jhana? And they end up suffering from what I'd call, what do you call it, performance anxiety. So I think my experience is that successful meditation doesn't just depend upon the meditator, it depends upon the teacher. And I think that there are some very, very good teachers, and there are some who I think their approach might be just a little bit too blunt or a little bit too sort of negative.
Thank you very much, sir.
I remember a husband and a wife coming to me once, both of them who were very devout Buddhists, and in front of his wife, the man told me how unfortunate he felt that he had met her before he started meditating, because he'd liked to not have a wife so that he could, get up to the 3rd jhana and the 4th jhana. I tell you what, if I'd have been his wife, I wouldn't have cooked him dinner that night. I mean, sometimes you come across some quite strange things in the meditation world.
Thank you, Venerable Sir. Any responses to the other question on mindful eating and weight maintenance? As far as I know, there are some research studies which show a beneficial effect in weight maintenance.
Yes, Prof. Saroj, yeah.
Yes,
More
please.
here.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I take the question for mindful eating? Yeah. Actually, in our Buddhist teaching, Buddha's teaching, and we have it's clearly stated that how to eat, how to eat meals, and then we usually especially monks and nuns, they eat only 2 meals a day. Some monks, I think especially in our monastery, they eat only one main meal, but we used to provide breakfast and lunch only. And then for the rest is, I think it's enough for our daily activities, and as like sitting and walking meditation. And another one is mindful eating is every time before we eat meal, we need to be mindful that we eat this meal because of our well-being, just only to do our meditation and Buddha's teaching, not for our own health. I mean, for our own beauty or our for other things. So this is also keep in mind for the mindfulness. Another one is it's like before we eat, we need to keep in mind that this one is just enough for our survival. So this is like we need to have a mindfulness before eating, during eating, and then before we finish. I think it's like a not overeating. Just try to stop before we full the whole for the full stomach, like that. Okay, so every step, I think, but it is not easy. Of course, we need to practice, for us, and make it a habit. Make it as a habit. Yeah. Another one is just I would like to.
We must return again to that crucial question posed by Venerable Luang Po, and that relates to Venerable Sir's what he stated about the reason why we should be meditating. Is it for research, or is it to overcome dukkha or suffering, or is it for personal emancipation, and so on? And if that is so, how should we in academia or United Nations now try to align ourselves about where we should go in the future. So it's a tough question, but anyone in the panel, please.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir. You're muted, please. Yeah.
Am I muted?
No, we can hear you.
My reasoning goes back about 50 years to when I was still living in Thailand, and there used to be an American psychiatrist who was very involved, very devoted to Luang Por Chah, who used to come every year to visit Wat Pa Pong, and he used to bring a questionnaire that he liked to get the Western monks to fill in, and it was a kind of way of measuring progress. I refused to have anything to do with it, which he thought was because I was somehow afraid, and I was, not for the reasons he thought, but because I didn't want to become kind of competitive. I'd already been living a competitive life, and I didn't want, and I felt very strongly, and I still do, that when you practice meditation, you should be doing it just really developing a practice of just doing it, not with desire, with the wish to somehow develop, in fact, a kind of ego about it. So I think this is very important, that, and I wonder if when you're assessing people, I've never had this experience of having something clamped to me and my heart rate measured or something or other while I'm practicing, but I wonder how much that actually affects the person, what they're actually doing.
May I make a couple of comments, please?
Yes.
I do think that just like everything else, we can divide it into several parts. Number one is there are folks that have never experienced meditation and are losing the benefits. And some of them have these weird, they are so into science. So it's a way of inviting people to come in. And that would be number one. Number two would be the people like for world peace. Nothing to do with our form of Buddhist meditation with the attention, like with our goal of attaining Nibbana. For them, they are fighting and they are making a lot of unskillful actions. If we can prevent some of those by introducing some of those, it's helpful. Number three, in my own practice, like as I said, most of my patients are non-Buddhists. I use it as in addition to giving them blood pressure medicines, etc. And I try to avoid giving medicine to make them sleep. I try to use this kind of relaxation techniques. So these are three outside benefits that people will gain in addition to our own practicing Buddhist goal of attaining Nibbana. For us, I think it's a detriment, as you quite rightly said. But for those three to enter and coming to the practice and make this world a better place, there may be a use for that, is my comment.
Yes, I agree. I also agree with what you said earlier about choosing or adapting techniques to the people that you are helping. That's very important, and it bears also on what Venerable Sravasti was saying, that often practices are taken up which are unsuited to people, and that's when they may run into some difficulty. So yes, I very much agree with that. I was interested that someone had a question who was an actor, because I used to be an actor many years ago, over 50 years ago. when I first started practicing meditation. And it was quite interesting, really. I was, at the time when I discovered Buddhism, I was appearing with the National Theatre of this country, and I discovered that really and truly the practice of mindfulness. I mean, this in a way was what I was already doing to a degree when I was on stage, but certainly developing that was a great help to me. There is a danger that some actors fall into of becoming very egocentric and acting as though they have sort of goldfish bowls over their heads, as we used to say.
Thank you very much, Venerable Sir. Now, I would like to change the emphasis of the discussion more towards what do we do now that the UN has declared World Meditation Day, which gives recognition to meditation as a global public good. Where do we head now? What's our strategy? What should we be doing? What are our objectives, if there are any? And how do we set about the next year, at least? Thank you. Anyone?
Wouldn't it be, acknowledging the importance of mind and the need to train minds? I mean, the whole mess the world is in, the violence and all the rest of it, is all coming from people's minds, from their greed and hatred. So I think if we're going to be talking about meditation, we should be really, because you see, I mean, here in this country, we've got people sort of visualizing being on a beach and all that kind of stuff. And that's called meditation as well. But I don't see that as really being a training of one's mind, a development of mind. It's a relaxation and it makes people feel better and all that jazz. But I think if we're talking about World Meditation Day, then we should be emphasizing the need for people to train and develop their minds, to develop understanding and to develop skillful states of mind, something along those.
Venerable Sir, if I may explore that, what you just mentioned. So most of the meditation programs which are there on the net and so on, they're trying to train people to meditate and relax and so on, and basically not really causing a transformative change in the person. Whereas what you're saying is that we should be using meditation to gain insight and bring in a transformation of the individual. To put it very starkly, you can be a murderer or a psychopath and still meditate in the technical form, compared to a person who really wants to change. What's your view on that, Venerable Sir? And anyone else?
Well, I have experience of teaching meditation with people who have been of that kind, I suppose you would say. But if you practice, if you're practicing meditation properly to develop your understanding, then those tendencies will fall away. That's why I believe that I think that if we're going to, talk about World Meditation Day, should be about training a person's mind and understanding. The transformation will come when the mind changes.
Thank you very much. Just a short announcement. We will have a group photograph with the whole gallery at the end. This is required by the administration for their purposes. So I think we'll do that as we go along. Any other points in relation to the global trust? What sort of organizational arrangements, or how are we going to move ahead for the next, at least till the next year? any ideas?
Can I have a suggestion, please? Can I have a suggestion, please?
Yes, sure, of
Okay.
course.
Now, I think this is in the hands of the organizers, temples, meditation centers, the committee members, and all that. So maybe we can organize on the 21st of December every year, we publicize meditation in all these places, like Visak Day, like that. You get what I mean? And then for example, the Mahavihara, maybe they can say, okay, today is World Meditation Day. We are organizing some talks or something like that. So some new people will come, get good speakers, famous speakers, and attract them to the centers. So each individual centers, each different countries, maybe we can do that on, especially on 21st December every year, and maybe we can increase participants around the world. I think there's one suggestion. How about it?
Yes, most definitely. I mean, that's something which they're planning even in the faculty to continue some sort of activity from 21st 2025 onwards. So maybe form some networks and consortia so that we look at even though there are disadvantages of pursuing research, it becomes important at the policy level, because if you have to convince people, some of them would really want to know about research and what's good and what's bad and so on. So I think that's something which we should be doing. And any other ideas which we can consider? So for the next year, I wonder whether Prof. Vajra is. Yes, Vajra, yes, you're there. Please. That's our dean, who is the chairperson of the center. Yeah.
Yes, I've been reflecting on what we could collectively do. I think at the very least, continuing the conversation with maybe quarterly webinars would be useful, bringing in more like-minded people into this forum, so we could maybe develop this into a global meditation discussion forum, and that's quite important, I think, and we can definitely do that, and we can put the resources for that from the Faculty of Medicine, and we can definitely take that forward. And then, of course, the meditation day itself, I know I agree with the sentiments that were expressed about researching on meditation, and I would also be someone who would, in fact, be a little reluctant on that. And in fact, Prof. Dilshani Disanayake would confirm that about 7-8 years ago, when the meditation research group was set up and I was invited to be one of the researchers, I declined. That was also, I was also reluctant to be a researcher of meditation rather than a student practitioner, and finding out for myself where I was kind of going. So therefore, but I think in the medical world that we live in, which is evidence-based medicine that we practice, we need, especially if we are to integrate meditation into our health systems, we need to look at the evidence that we generate. So I think in that context, we have shown through the work of the center, as well as the wider body of evidence that is out there, that there is health benefits. But then I think the question that came up, although not in the same frame that I'm going to frame it now, was how do we use meditation as an intervention, if I may use that, to either cure or overcome specific diseases. that in the kind of Western sense of science is a different form of interventional research, and that would require a randomized controlled trials of those who are on whom we use meditation as a practice, as an intervention, and those who are not, in whom who undergo the conventional treatment without meditation as an intervention. So, I mean, in terms of the the modern scientific world that we live in, if we are to bring in meditation as an intervention in our disease population, then we will have to generate that evidence as well. And unless we do that, there will be the reluctance on the part of the kind of the establishment, as it were, to adopt it. And I think we all recognize that. But I think, one of the things that I've been always, promoting is that we need a greater understanding of, what was also in the original scriptures and so on, and try to understand and explore it more. And I think that also came up in some of the ideas that were expressed by our venerable Theros. So we need to explore that as well. But there's a lot of work to be done, and it's very important in the context of the modern world, where mental resilience as a broader theme is so very important, and meditation practices can definitely, play a role in that. So, as regards to what we do from this year to next year, Prof. Saroj, I think I would suggest that we have a quarterly forum. We can even call it something like a global meditation forum or something like that, and to bring in more partners or more participants from different diverse populations, and then build discussions around maybe one presentation followed by discussions around that, or some such structure for it. In terms of actually using meditation practices as an intervention, I was actually thinking of kind of a collaboration between the Center for Meditation Research with our Center for Health System Policy and Innovation, and some such tie-up through the regional office of the WHO. And fortunately, at the moment, I chair both centers, so we can kind of bring in some collaboration there, and see how we go forward, and we need to give some thought on that. But one of the things that I'd like to see happen in 2025 probably is, exploring the possibility of even a global conference on meditation, which we'll be happy to host in the faculty. We have conference facilities in the faculty. We can, so therefore, without high expenditure, we can always host such an event. And I think because Sri Lanka took the initiative on the resolution at the UN, I presume that we could now follow that to the diplomatic channels, to the government, and express our interest in doing so that we may get the support of the government to host such an event. And that would also be, I think, something that we could explore on the heels of the fact that the day was declared. So those are my thoughts, and I hope that we would be able to discuss these further internally, as well as with our eminent panelists, and work out a roadmap for how we go forward. not only next year, but beyond. Thank you
very much. Thank you very much,
Vajira. May I suggest one more very important thing, which is involving the students. I see a change in the new doctors that are coming up versus like the ones that, like my parents. So I've been thinking a lot about that, and this is one place because you are there, the center is there, at least in the faculty, in the Colombo faculty. I don't know what you could do, but we definitely need to do something. So a request, please.
Yes, absolutely. It's not just for us, but it's also for the students as well, and involving them definitely. Yes.
Thank you very much. And I think we should think of even the role of meditation in relation to sustainable development goals. And as Venerable Luang Po mentioned, I mean, to bring in a transformative change in humanity itself, I think that should be probably the ultimate goal. I think we've come to time now. Dilshani, all yours now, because we've got to take a group photograph and call it a day. So thank you very much for
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the panel. I think we could not cover all the questions that were asked because of the time factor. But if I summarize everything together, now we are actually dealing with a long tradition which has been practiced and with a huge religious connotation, and we are putting science into it. And throughout our life, we have been stimulating as a neuroscientist, I'm putting in neuroscience here, we've been stimulating our reward-seeking pathways. So we have targets, goals. Even for meditation, we say we have target goals and we want to achieve them. So with that, we have our own self-image. And when there's a deviation from that self-image, we have distrust. Sometimes we feel uncomfortable, and sometimes we can feel annoyed. But I think we have got into this research with all these questions, with all these comments also, because we consider them as very important. If we are to, as Professor Vajra mentioned, one of the main objectives was to incorporate meditation into health and well-being as a practice. So we had to produce some evidence that there are positive changes in the body, and we have seen positive changes, not subjective changes, objective changes in the body. And also we have seen neuroplasticity, changes in the brain areas occurring, which can help people until they get into the practice of real mind discovery, exploration of self, and getting out of the self-image. So I think Soumya will be unhappy if we don't touch on actors and how it helps in meditation. So the self-image that we have produced about ourselves, during acting, we get out of that self-image and we get into another self-image. So it is a bit different to concentrating on something, maintaining stable attention, and later on understanding of yourself and getting out of yourself. So neuroscientifically, the pathways are different, but we can discuss that also further. And also when it comes to education, we have already incorporated some practices, and we saw in Bhutan also, the students are also targeted when it comes to mind training. So we have also started from 2020, actually it was 21st of December 2020, we started having programs for our university community, all staff and students. So I think we have got good feedback, good suggestions as to how we can move forward. So it was wonderful to have all of you with us, and it was encouraging to have you. And I think hopefully you will stay on as our advisors and our support group so that we can take these ideas forward. So I would like to thank Venerable Luang Po Kemadamo, Venerable Bhante Shavasti Damikatero for joining us, and also all the resource persons, Dr. Karma Tenzing from Sir Aurobindo Rotre, Dr. Mo Thida Kyo, Assistant Professor Tanajpon Kitikong, and Dr. Iresha Gunasingh joining from all over the world and enlightening us and making this symposium a successful one. And I have a few more people to thank who supported us logistically, providing us approval and providing us with resource persons. So first of all, Senior Professor Chair H.D. Karunaratne, Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, and our own Senior Professor Vajra Dissanayake, Dean, Faculty of Medicine, Dr. Srimali Fernando from UNESCO, and Dr. Reiki Singh from Reiki Foundation for Happiness, who is making us happy by providing funding and supporting our research, and Professor Tanushree Datta from Reiki Foundation, Professor Manori Senanayaka, Professor Saumya Liyanage, Dr. Rasika Jaitunga, Professor Samira Gunawardana, who actually supported us in finding resource persons. And Professor Saroja Singh, who had been the live wire behind this symposium, who persevered and insisted that we should have this symposium today. And all the board members of the Center for Meditation Research, Dr. Jeevani Herath, my Deputy Director from the Faculty of Education, who elegantly handled the comparing today, and Mr. Lagdina Sandaravan, Mr. Kalpa Pereira, Mr. Mohamed Nasil, and Ms. Sandini Somaratna supported us to organize the event, and all of you who supported in organizing. And last but not least, all the participants who have been very active and supportive. Well done for joining today, and thank you very much. So we have to take a photo now. If you don't mind, if you can all turn your video on, I think our IT team will take the group photo.
How do you turn your video on?
Sorry, sir?
There's an icon
How
below.
do I?
You're on. Your video is on.
Your video is on.
Is that it?
Now you turn it off. You don't turn it off. All right, you're there.
Right.